and gentlemen. This is Step Into the Light, Step Up to the Mic podcast featuring your boy Smoove the Blaq Kennedy and my boy M. Dot. What it do, baby? How you doing, my boy?
Good. Chilling, man. Chilling. How's everything with you, man? How you adjusting, my brother?
Hey, yeah, man. I'm good, bro. Back in the States, back in the VA, the home state. And I feel fucking immaculate, brother. I feel immaculate.
Oh my
you know
God.
what I'm saying? I've been out here taking my little vitamins. Yo, side note, I ordered some supplements, not really supplements, but like those natural supplements from Styles P.
Right.
Company, Pharmacy for Life. I've been feeling pretty good, yo. I'm not even gonna lie.
My question to you is, let me ask you a question real quick. So do you think those pills are really working, or do you think it's just, I took this joint, but my mental is right, my body is right, I'm back home, that type of shit? Do you think that is just that feeling, or you think those vitamins are really kind of like doing something?
I think it's definitely doing something. I mean, me being back home, that's just a natural feeling, you know what I'm saying? That's just like me being on a natural high in a sense, right?
Right.
But as far as getting up early in the morning, I still got to do that, right? And I take those vitamins every morning. And I've been alert, like I've been on my shit, concentrating better, just, you know what I'm saying, being able to think better on my toes. Yeah, and then as far as that Irish sea moss, right, it's supposed to help, get a lot of phlegm and shit up out of your body.
Right.
I haven't really been dealing with like extra sinus problems or anything. Not that I never necessarily had it, but you know how when you always got to clear your throat or some shit.
Right, absolutely.
Not a lot of that. I mean, especially for me, I used to smoke. And like tobacco, right? Like Blaqs and shit. So that was one of the reasons why I wanted to start taking them. Just, you know what I'm saying, get all that bad stuff about my body. And I mean, I've been feeling good, yo. I ain't even gonna cap. Maybe it is a placebo effect. I don't know, but yeah, it works. Take my money.
Yeah, you know what, bro? I agree with you because I think if it is helping you and it's clearing out the phlegm and stuff like that, because I think mucus is one of the things that can really clog up the body, especially like if you have too much of that phlegm and stuff like that, your body is pretty much backed up. Yeah. So if those pills are helping you, hey, more power to it, brother.
That's facts, man. Yeah, we're gonna see what happens in next month. See how I feel.
So let me ask you another question. I know we got a whole other topic to discuss today, but I just want to ask you a quick question. COVID, do you believe it? Do you think it's real? Or do you think it's something that, it's just like the flu, we're going to get over it? How do you think? Do you think the media is overreacting towards it? Or like, what's your takes on it? Because I got my point of view on it, but go ahead.
I want to know what the hell happened to the flu, to pneumonia, to a common cold. Everything is just COVID now. Everything is COVID. A nigga sneeze, he has COVID. A nigga has diarrhea, somehow it's COVID related. Like I don't get it. So man, bro, I don't know. So I've been telling people a lot later that we're this is like a dawn of a new era type shit, right? Like the world is changing, man, and I think things that we knew as the cold and the flu and pneumonia is getting it's just grouped into one thing now, and it's classified as COVID. All right, people can die from cold, people can die from pneumonia, the flu, whatever. It's just COVID now. That's how I see it. Now, what's your take on it?
You know what? I am scared of this shit. I ain't gonna fraud because I have family that kind of like that had it, and even my one cousin, this dude got the vaccine and still got COVID. So even though they say the vaccine is not it's not a preventative, it's like pretty much is you get it, you're still likely to get it, but it's not gonna be something where it hits you as bad. Yeah. You get what I'm saying? But my thing is like, I want something more proven, more direct. Like I don't want a vaccine that is half-ass or it doesn't give me that that complete safety blanket that I need. You get what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Now I know it's about, you got to keep your body right and everything like that. But the COVID thing, I think the media overhypes it to an extreme, to the point where like even now, even the state, Delaware where I live in, now it's like going back to now we got to wear masks again. Like it's slowly
Oh,
reverting
word?
back to the early stages. Yeah. Because even now, all government buildings, if you enter them, you got to wear masks. But in the public, you
Okay.
don't kind of have to wear masks, but all government buildings, you have to wear masks. So I think it's kind of slowly but surely going back to where it was 6-8 months ago. But I don't think, for me personally, I don't think the economy can handle another shutdown when it comes to COVID.
Yeah,
I
that's what I
can't.
was gonna ask you.
I can't handle it. I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna go crazy.
Yeah, bro. I mean that was really messing with a lot of people's pockets, man. I mean, it's still people unemployed, from the first lockdown. You know what I'm saying? Like for example, when I went to my new orthodontist the other day, right? And I'm just sitting there chopping it up with the tech. And I had mentioned that, Talaya wants to get into that field of work. And she was saying, yeah, I mean, a lot of orthodontists out there are hiring right now because a lot of the techs that were there prior to the lockdown didn't even come back to work.
Oh,
Like
shit.
there's still, you know what I'm saying? Some people were affected from COVID and some people just like, nah, I'm not even going, test the waters because you're in people's mouths, you know what I'm saying? So you never know. I guess you could say the same with like some nurses or whatever.
Right.
But yeah, so I don't know, bro. I don't know how people are managing to get by if they're not working. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I agree. The economy cannot go through another lockdown, bro. Yeah, it's not gonna be good, man.
Nah, it's not. It's not gonna be good at all. But you know what? This country has been through a lot, so I think we can kind of get over the hump of COVID. But it
Yeah,
all depends on like people got to pull their weight. You can't be on unemployment these whole 2-3 years if you're well and able to work. That's the one thing I don't like. I don't like people taking advantage. Like if you're gonna keep playing the system, then I'm not gonna like you. I'm not gonna wanna do anything right by you.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
if
You got to
you're
pull
able to
your own
work,
weight.
yeah, go to work. You know what I mean? My tax money is not going to supporting you sitting on your butt. Now, if you got a health condition and you're a diabetic or you have any type of high blood pressure or anything like that,
Or
yeah, cool.
disabled.
Disabled, those type of people, cool. I can kind of, I won't mind my money going towards people because they kind of need it. But anybody else,
Yeah.
get your ass up and go to work. McDonald's always hiring. Shit, you can text them now and get a job.
What?
Yeah, bro. I went to McDonald's the other day. They got a thing where you can text them, do the application online, and then if everything work out, they'll hire you. That's how bad it
Wow.
is. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, I did see a few fast food spots out here that was talking about that had it, how they were hiring, especially McDonald's. They looking for crew and managers.
Nah, it was one place. I know we got another topic, but we keep jumping into interesting shit.
Good dog.
Nah, McDonald's, that's one place I can never work. I know you have experience with them. Me personally, I'm eating all the food. Every time it comes out, it's cooked. I'm eating it.
You
I'm eating
say
it.
that. You
Bro,
say that.
I know me, man. Even when I cook, bro, I eat my food.
While you cooking, right?
While I'm cooking, bro, I'm taking a little
Yeah.
taste. I need a little bit more of that, a little bit more of this, bro. Yeah.
Yeah, yo, I was like that because I'm a greedy guy. I love to eat.
Mm.
But bro, you get tired of that, John. You get tired of it. I got so bad to the point where I started eating McDonald's salads.
Mm.
I had everything I wanted. I'm tired of everything else. I'm getting McDonald's salads. Bro, it
Did
was bad.
the salads fill you up?
Yeah, the salads was actually good, yo. And you get the
Really?
crispy chicken Southwest salad.
Mm.
Oh, my Lanta.
Mm.
Gets the job done.
Mm.
Yeah.
I know a lot of them McDonald's secrets too. You can't say them on the air now.
Yeah, bro, I can't release that type of information. That's G14 classified. I risk my life for that shit. But yeah, man.
So let's change gears real quick. We're gonna dive into the topic, today's topic, which we're gonna talk about Black heroes. So me and Smoove, we're very influenced by a couple of people that we're gonna talk about today. Very influential in our lives, and we kind of hold what they taught and what they brought to history, hold it dear in our lives. So I'll let Smoove kind of dive into his first, and then I'll go, and then we'll go back and forth on this topic.
Most definitely. So my first Black hero that I'm gonna discuss today is going to be Huey P. Newton, right? Um, for those of you that don't know, or may have happened to live under a rock, Huey P. Newton is the co-founder of Black Panther Party, right? And the Black Panther Party was pretty much founded in response to police brutality that was happening back in the 60s. So the party believed that that in the Black struggle of justice, right, violence or the possibility of violence was necessary. Okay, so the media kind of put them into this light as being violent Black folks, right? But when all they were doing was just protecting their communities. Okay, so you had Bobby Seale, who was the chairman of the Black Panther Party, and then you had Huey P., who was the Minister of Defense, right? And for good reason. Okay, Bobby Seale was the type of cat that he was a well-spoken guy, politically correct type of person, right? That's the type of person that you actually wanted to speak at these conferences, and what I'm saying, and for the most part, be cool about it. Huey, on the other hand, he was the radicalist in a sense, right? Like he wants to get down, dirty with it. All right, if you're not digging what he's saying, then whatever. He's gonna let it be known that he's out here to represent for the Black folks. And as a matter of fact, I want to say that the Black Panther Party also helped change the way that the world spoke about Black people, right? Like back then, the word was Negro. All right. Then when Black Panther Party, I mean, the civil rights movement as well. I'm not going. I don't want to discredit the other people that helped push this as well, but they were in the communities telling people, no, Black is beautiful. You know what I'm saying? That was the thing. We do Negro this, Negro that. Nah, Black. We are Black. All right. So that that was that. Let's see, another important thing, he was a co-writer of the 10-point program, right? I'm gonna break down the 10-point program real fast. All right, so 10-point program is pretty much there were 10 laws that they kind of went by in the party. All right, so one of them, or starting from one, right? First one, we want freedom. All right, we want the power to determine the destiny of our Black and oppressed communities. Number two, we want full employment for our people. Number three, we want an end to the robbery by the capitalists of our Black and oppressed communities. Four, we want this decent housing, fit for shelter of human beings. Five, we want decent education for our people that expose the true nature of this decadent American society. Six, I think, yeah, we want education that teaches us our true history and our role in the present day society. We want complete free healthcare and all Black for all Black and oppressed people. We want an immediate end to police brutality and the murder of Black people, other people of color, and all oppressed people inside the United States. We want an immediate end to all wars of aggression. We want freedom for all Black and oppressed people now held in U.S. federal, state, county, city, military prisons, and jails. Last but not least, we want land, bread, housing, education, clothing, justice, peace, and people's community control of modern technology. All right. So wow. They were serious about this. Yeah, man. They was very serious, right? So check this out. What really brought them into light, right? And Huey was part of this as well. They marched up to the state capitol in Sacramento, California, right? And they went up there, guns loaded, right? And they stormed. I don't want to say they stormed the Capitol, but they stormed the Capitol, right? They went in there because they were getting ready to mandate, or they were in the process of passing what they called the what's it called? The Mulford Act. All right. The Mulford Act was pretty much a law that they were trying to pass where citizens were no longer allowed to walk around with loaded weapons. All right. Now, why did they want to impose this act? Because prior to that act, they would go on patrols throughout the community, seeing what police is doing, right? They following the patrol cars of the police, seeing, you know what I'm saying, if they out there messing with Black folks or not. Police brutality also went down when they was doing that too. They were sitting there watching them cats, right? Because they knew white folks were scared too, man. Them white cops, they were scared because they was like, well, shoot, they see us messing with, you know, these folks. It's liable to be a shootout. You know what I'm saying? They even went to the extent that when somebody was arrested, right, they would go to the police station and bail them people out. Bail them out just like that. I mean, with the quickness, bro. With the
They
quickness.
ain't doing that. They ain't doing that stuff nowadays.
Nah, not at all.
You ain't getting bailed out. You ain't getting bailed out.
Nah, and it's very unfortunate, man, because you know what I'm saying, they were bailing these people out, and it was also recruiting them. They like, look here, brother or sister, you going through this, that, and the third. Join us. I guarantee you, we're gonna educate you and put you in the right position to where you're gonna be like, you know what, y'all can't mess with me ever, ever. All right. So the little fun fact. Let's see what else, man. Like I said, he was co-writer of the 10-point program. So he graduated from Merritt College, which is out there in Cali. And he graduated from the University of California, Santa Cruz, with a bachelor's and PhD in social philosophy. All right. Fun fact about Merritt College, he was a part of this association, the Afro-American Association. At the Afro-American Association, they pretty much used to do the same thing that the Panthers did in a sense, right? But not as aggressive, right? They were just you know what I'm saying, trying to get equality for Black folks, especially in the college, which led to Merritt College starting its first African American course. Huey was a part of that, so that was pretty dope. Let's see what else, man. But you know, as time went on, as the Panthers, you know, started getting big, especially Huey, right? He ended up getting into some trouble, right? I mean, he had a few shootouts with the police. One instance, the police officer was actually shot, right? Let's see what else. This happened. All right, so like in 1974, he was accused of multiple murders, right? Now, not sure if it's true or not, but he ended up fleeing to Cuba for 3 years, right? So he came back, you know, he ended up going to trial. Nothing ever happened, right? It was a hung jury on few of those cases. So fast forward, when the party was dismantled by COINTELPRO, all right, good old J. Edgar Hoover.
God, I hate that man.
Bruh, I mean, yo, check this out. It was something that I had saw earlier, right? Man, where that thing at, bro? Good old J. Edgar Hoover. He did something. He had said something wild, man. I can't even find it right now. But in so many words, right, he was pretty much saying that the Black Panther Party was they were a threat to national security. That's how big they were getting, right? Because they not only were they influencing, you know, people in our country, right? But they was getting support from Japan, China, France, England, Germany, Sweden, Mozambique. What was it? Mozambique? Something like that. Yeah. Mozambique. Yep. South Africa, Zimbabwe, Uruguay, and a whole bunch of other places, right? But you know what I'm saying? It was dope that they were receiving love like that. But it's also bad when you're trying to control a country that's already going through a racial crisis in a sense, right? But that's neither here nor there. But just the way that Huey was very militant, man, and he, sort of like Malcolm X, man, like he spoke freely when he was speaking to white folks. He didn't hold his tongue, and I mean, for what? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm educated. I'm a human being just like you. If the roles was reversed, y'all would do the same thing type stuff. You know what I mean? But unfortunately, Huey died back in 1989. He was killed by this guy named Tyrone Robinson. I think Huey kind of started going off the hinges a little bit. Started peddling with drugs a little bit. Now, personally, I believe he was set up, maybe even executed, because of, what I'm saying, his role with the Panthers, right? But I say all that to say, right, Huey was just very important to me and still is, right, because he is a symbol of Black pride. And he took a front seat. He was a forerunner for, being very outspoken and fighting the oppression against, quote unquote, the man. And that's something that you do not see in 2021, 2022 at all. All right. All of our leaders that we did have back then, they're either dead or in jail or in Cuba. You know what I'm saying? And I wish that we still had people like him around. Maybe not as aggressive because the world is changing, and I think it's changing for the for the good in a sense. In a sense, I think so. I think so. I mean, you got to think about it, Matt. It's not lynchings. You don't have KKKs walking through the streets. All right. You don't have, I'm not going to say that, but even though, these folks is camouflaged in uniforms these days, or they're camouflaged in, suits sitting up there at Capitol Hill or whatever, but they're in hiding. All right. And this new generation now, is a little crazy. Now we're not getting lynched in the streets, no, but we still are getting shot in the streets. You know what I'm saying? But if you compare the 60s to 2021, which era would you rather live in?
I'm not an idiot. Of course, 2021.
Exactly.
But I will say this, right? If I was living in the 1960s, I think I would have been them Black folks they would have had to kill, because I wouldn't have tolerated half the bullshit.
Oh, that's facts.
Because it's like, even when I look at, like, Martin Luther King and the non-violent, I don't know if my body, I don't know if I had that much mental will and strength to let someone beat on me and continue to press on the following day. Like, I'm not gonna let someone beat on me into submission. I'm gonna fight back.
Mm-hmm.
Like Malcolm X said, we meet nonviolence with nonviolence. We're not gonna meet nonviolence. We're not gonna meet violence with nonviolence. Like, to me, it doesn't make sense. I'm not gonna allow, especially like, white supremacists or people who thought in that way, to beat on me or think a little of me or all those type of things. Like, I commend those Black folks back in the day. They set the bar, and they really did a lot when it comes to that. And I don't think we have that much. I don't think we have Black folks that will take a stand to that extent and go and spend the night in jail or a couple nights in jail because of that. You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of the Black folks we have now, I'm not gonna say they're cowards, but it's different. Like, it's different.
Scared, man. They scared.
It's different. It's scared, and it's just different, man.
Yeah, I personally feel like they scared, right? And I say that because of what we seen in our history. Whenever somebody gets enough clout, or they're put on this pedestal to where they can actually implement some type of change, what the hell happens to them? They get assassinated, or they're thrown in jail. They thrown under the jail. I mean, who wants, you know what I'm saying? Who wants to go through that?
And let me ask you this though, right? Because we can name a lot of Black leaders from the past. Mm-hmm. Can we name any Black leaders of the present?
Nope.
I
don't know.
I don't know either, but it's crazy because I can think of Black activist groups like Black Lives Matter, Hands Up, Don't Shoot, a bunch of other organizations, but I cannot, NAACP, ALCU, but I cannot think of any Black leader that stands out to me and I could say, now that dude right there, they're going to have to shoot and kill because he's doing something. I cannot think of anyone like that. I can't think of one.
I can't think of one. That's why cats like Huey P. Newton is like, bro, that right there is like, that's a leader to me. Now, granted, I'm not saying he was super aggressive with some of his tactics, cool, but I feel like that's how it had to be back then.
Yeah.
Who wants to be soft when you're dealing with folks that's just, you know what I'm saying, doing whatever the hell they want?
100%, I agree with you, because they didn't play by any rules. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, we can say that those leaders back then, like, they took a really harsh approach, but they had to. Mm-hmm. You have folks that wasn't playing by the rule. You have folks that was wearing tablecloths over their head just so they can commit these malicious crimes towards Black folks. I'm talking about the KKK here, but those white supremacist groups, they played very dirty. And a lot of them was those guys that would put that hood on at night and then put the badge on in the morning. It's crazy, but it's the truth though.
Hey, like, it's still to this day.
It's still to this day, absolutely. Absolutely. You have a lot of people with hidden agendas.
I think the most dangerous people besides them are the cats that's making these laws, right? The ones that's sitting in these offices and they have, the power of the pen. You know what I'm saying? They grew up, a lot of their folks are these same people that we're talking about, right? They're neighbors, you know what I'm saying? They're drinking buddies. I think that, even for the ones that do feel like it's wrong, they can't go against their people.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? They'll get frowned upon, even though it's the wrong thing to do. They still got to do it. But
it's crazy. I always think of the quote that Frederick Douglass said. He said that you cannot change the people that are older. You only can put change onto the newer generation. So the younger people that are coming up, the kids, you know what I mean? They're the ones that it would be a lot easier to get into their mindset and kind of, influence them better than an older generation that already set in their ways. They're not going to want to change because they already have everything good for them. They, whether it's the racist thinking or the prejudice mindset, that's what's worked for them. They're going to keep it that way. They're going to be ignorant towards, new facts or, new statements that have come out that say otherwise to what they've been taught. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, it's crazy. But Huey P. Newton was that dude. And I think if we did have someone like that in this generation today, I think things would be a lot different. Like in a sense, like I'm not saying it's not good now. Like I live in an era where, racial discrimination is more of, I'm going to experience that more in a job setting. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I'm going to experience that 100% more in a job setting than out in public. Like I might get the looks, I might get the stares, but a lot of it is job. Like, especially if you're in a job and everybody knows that if you Black and you in a position of authority or any type of governmental job, you got to do 100 times more than what the other man next to you is doing. And that's what you're taught.
Yeah.
Like off the rip, your parents tell you that, your mentors, they tell you got to do this, that, the third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, 10th. You got to have the best grades. You got to speak another language. You got to play a damn instrument for you to be recognized and for you to have that edge compared to someone that doesn't do nearly as much as you do.
Ain't that crazy, bro?
It's I'm telling you, and it's facts. Like if you ask any young black person or any person in a professional career, and you ask them, "Yo, let me see your resume real quick," and you compare it to anybody else, you're gonna see they have 100 more things than the next person that's of a different color or a different race. It's just what we've been wired to do. We have to do the most to succeed the best in order to get that position compared to the person that does the less.
And get that position. Hell, I say just to be neck and neck with the folks.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's and so I saw this video a few years back, right? And it was an experiment that this guy was doing. A guy or a lady, I can't quite remember. But it was a bunch of kids, all right. I want to say high school. You had black kids, white kids, Spanish kids. Yeah, I don't think I saw any Asian folks out there. But anyways, so the man is asking these people a series of questions, right? Now, if you answer the questions, then you took one step forward. All right.
Hmm.
Now, granted,
Oh, I remember this. I remember this.
it was a finish line at the end. All right. You had people standing on one side, finish line is at the end. Answer the question, you get a head start. All right. Take a step forward. So you ask them a series of questions, right? Like, you know, do you live in a single parent household? You know, are your parents working? Have you ever been, have you ever been shot at, racially discriminated, this, that, and the third, whatever, right? Now, at the end of the questions, 90% of the white kids was already ahead of them, was ahead of the black folks and the Spanish kids. The man said, okay, I want you people up in the front, I want you all to turn around and look behind you. This is the type of advantage that you have over these folks because of pretty much white privilege.
And you know what's crazy? Like people say white privilege doesn't exist, but I mean it's just common. It's common history. Like if you look back at history, they've had a head start since the beginning. Now, I will say this: that if you're black and you're in an opportunity to excel, then you excel to the highest point.
Mm-hmm.
But certain individuals, especially ones that grow up in poverty, and they're still affected by the stigma and everything like that, they're gonna have to dig deep and really try to push hard to get out of that situation. Like that's just facts.
Yeah,
You know what I
nah,
mean? And
it is.
some majority of the time, like we got as black people, we got to hold ourselves accountable. But at the end of the day, we still got a monkey on our shoulder. It's in the history books. Like if someone reads history and they say, "Damn, these people were slaves 400 plus years ago. They just got equal rights in the 1950s, 1960s. Just entered integration. We still behind.
Way behind.
What like it doesn't. And then you look at the laws, and you look at Bill Clinton and the three strikes laws and the mandatory minimum, those type of things. They deeply impacted black folks.
All setbacks for black folks,
Like
no matter how you look at it.
listen. I'm recommend a book to the people that's listening. It's by Michelle Alexander. It's called The New Jim Crow, and
Mm,
it goes into detail about mass incarceration, the three strike rules, mandatory minimums, those type of things, and it dives deep into like statistical data, factual data about individuals, different type of groups, and it talks about mass incarceration and how it was a tool utilized to pretty much um, belittle the black man
yeah.
and put him in a certain area where he will not be able to succeed. So people got to understand that, if we're talking about, when slavery was abolished, 1865, do people understand that they enforce laws after that to make people still go back into forced labor? The black codes, certain different things that they
Yeah.
put into place for that. Like, so if you were out past curfew, okay, well, you out past curfew, we got you here, black dude. You got to go back. You got to go back and do forced labor even after you were free.
Oh yeah.
So these things that people need to understand, because black people are not complaining or saying this is what why this is why what happened, and we're This is what we're no, it's something that people have to recognize because people always say, well, you guys need to stop talking about it. No, it never can be stopped talking about because you don't tell the Jewish people to stop bringing up the Holocaust. You never tell them to stop talking about it. So you can't tell Black folks stop talking about slavery. That's always going to be something that's always, deeply rooted in our past.
Very deeply rooted. I mean, that's right there is what you call generational trauma. That is something that you will not forget. Unfortunately, that's passed down through your genetics. Like this one guy that I was watching on Breakfast Club the other day, he was talking about how there's this stuff in your body called cortisol, right? Cortisol is man, I don't want to be misquoted or anything or say the wrong stuff, but I want to say that cortisol is what gives you like your adrenaline type. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like anxiety and depression and stuff like that. That's all grouped together, right? Or not grouped together, but cortisol is what is pumped through your body to give you that edge, right? Why is that? Because year after year, decades after decades after decade, Black folks are going through some sort of trauma, right? So whenever you see something off of instinct, you know what I'm saying? Your heart starts racing. You know what I mean? I guarantee you, white folks is not going through that. Guarantee you.
Nah, and it's crazy because I would always have conversations with this one gentleman that I work with. He's a cool guy. He would always ask me questions like, why are Black people allowed to say the N-word and what is Black Lives Matter? But questions like that, and I would have to educate them about. But this is the serious thing. Like, you have to have those conversations with those people because you have to empower them with that knowledge so they understand it. Because all they're gonna rely on is the media telling them that this is that and that and the third. Yeah. Like, you have to educate them on why you can't say the N-word. N-word was a racial slur that was used to denigrate and belittle Black people during slavery. Why are Black people allowed to say it? Well, we're allowed to say it because we took that word and we kind of used it as an empowerment, kind of used it as a word to kind of to say to our brethren. Not necessarily saying that every Black person likes using that word because we don't.
Yeah, because it's still an ugly word.
Yeah, a lot of the older folks from the old generation, they'll tell you like, I hate that word. I don't want anybody to say it. But people in the new generation, our age, a little bit younger, they say that word with no remorse. And we try to take that word out of our vocabulary, but it's so ingrained with how we've been brought up and everything like that. It's secondhand nature.
Yeah, definitely.
So I think those conversations with the opposite race, and allow giving them that understanding is going to allow them to open their eyes and say, hey, you know what? This guy taught me something today, and he really changed my outlook on how I view that certain group or how I view that certain individual. So we got to have these uncomfortable conversations because there's not going to be change if we don't have them. It is facts, what it is.
Man. Yeah, unfortunately. But hey, that's real rap. So yeah, so that's hey, Huey P. See that? All right, yeah. Huey P, my dog, rest in peace. His see that fire that he has, that fuels through us, low key, high key. You know what I'm saying?
Put the recommendation for that book, bro.
Yeah, please check out Revolutionary Suicide by Huey P. Newton.
Here we go.
That book right there is pretty much it's a biography of Huey P., autobiography of him. He did that all himself. Check it out. I mean, you get a great insight of who he is as a person, how he grew up. And yeah, understand. Get you an understanding of where this guy came from and why, and he chose to maneuver the way he maneuvered. You dig?
Let's clap it up for Huey P. Let's clap it up for Huey P.
Huey P.
All right, so I'm gonna dive in to who I'm talking about right now. For the listeners that don't know, I am Haitian, so I kind of take Haitian culture very seriously. I got the Haitian flag in the back. You know, the Haitian listen to Sac Passe, you know,
Ça
Naboulé,
passe.
you know, Mabdi Onti Bagala, de Toussaint Louverture. So I just said I'm going to talk a little bit about Toussaint Louverture and pretty much, you know, dive in a little bit. You know, he was a son of an African prince, and he was captured by slavers during his early days as a young man. He inspired individuals with his kindness. Although he was born into slavery, this is the thing, like he was born into slavery, but he was recognized by his master as someone with supreme intelligence. So his master was like, yo, I see something in you. And back then, the mid 1700s, that was unforeseen for your slave master to say, hey, I see something in you. I want you, I think I want to elevate you a little bit more. That only happens to a select few Black folks. And you know, there is some that I can quote now, but I'm not going to. You know, when he was 20 years old, he knew 3 different languages, you know, French, Creole, and Latin. So he was already trilingual. So he kind of already knew how to navigate into, you know, the dominant society. You know, when I refer to dominant society, I mean white society. So he was able to kind of, you know, use his languages and use what he was taught by his master to kind of show the people in that dominant society, like, hey, you know, I am Black, but I, you know, see through that and understand me when I'm talking to you because I do speak your language and I do have some sort of intelligence. He did, one of his favorite people that he loved to read about, and this is how you know his mindset was already on that military scheme, was Julius Caesar and Alexander the Great. Now, if you are a person that loves historical military of other countries, you know, those individuals, you know, Alexander the Great was a very accomplished conqueror. Julius Caesar was a very accomplished conqueror in Rome. So he was already reading about individuals that had great success in the past previous to him. So he wanted to understand, like, how did those men achieve those great conquerors and success? And I'm going to dive in to his background a little bit more when I finish reading these facts about him, about, you know, why I'm explaining why he wants to talk about this military conquest with these other individuals. You know, he was a skilled horseman. He was an escutarian. So he knew how to ride a horse.
Oh, I'm sorry, bro. Equestrian. My fault. Yeah, equestrian.
So he devised a plan for the slaves of the country of Haiti, and how to gain economic freedom before those rights were even guaranteed to that country. So if you guys don't know, let me just give you a little background on Haiti. Haiti was a country that was once owned by the Spanish, colonized by the Spanish, then colonized by the French. But the Spanish and the French kind of had a little bit of a barter with each other. They were like, hey, you colonize one side, I'll colonize this side. So that's why today Haiti has was once known as an island of Hispaniola. So you have one side of the island, Dominican Republic. You have another side that's called Haiti. So that's why they have different languages, different cultures, because they were colonized by two different dominating countries at that time. All right. He helped Haiti create its first constitution. So you got to understand, you know, creating a constitution, that's something that you got to be very knowledgeable to kind of understand, to write out those laws, because we always redeem, you know, America of having a great constitution that gives us our freedoms and our rights. You know, at that time, Haiti was still developing, and it kind of understood democracy and kind of knew where they wanted to be headed once they gained their freedom. You know, during the Haitian Revolution, they were already they're already coming up with ideas and plans to kind of, you know, put that constitution together and say, hey, this is what we want. This is how we're going to handle the country from now on. He was named the governor for life, but he did set that, you know, governors would only have a 5-year term. So colonial people were declared to be French citizens from birth to death. Black, whites, and mixed race people were all socially equal. So he kind of wanted everybody to be on a leveling playing field. So he wanted whites, blacks, French, Polish, other residing ethnic groups in Haiti to all be treated equal. And I'm gonna talk about another gentleman after this, that he didn't think the same as Toussaint, but they were both two individuals that brought the country to where it is now when it comes to getting freedom and fighting off the French. All right. So he instituted Catholicism as being the practice religion. He didn't want anybody getting divorced. That was one of his laws.
Oh, nice.
He didn't want anything imported on the island if the product was already produce there. So that right there, that is amazing because you want the country to be self-independent. Now Haiti is not a self-producing country. Haiti is a country that gets everything imported into them from NGOs. And if you guys don't know what NGOs, they're non-governmental organizations. So they're charity places like, World Aid, Red Cross, UNICEF, all those different organizations. Haiti has about 10,000 of those in their country. They have the most in the Western Hemisphere. A small country that inhabits about 8 to 10 million people has 10,000 NGOs. So if you're a poor Haitian person or a poor Haitian family, you have a lot of places to go to get free aid, which why the country is not self-sufficient, because they have a lot of NGOs and a lot of other countries with governing interests in that country to kind of make it not self-independent.
So wait, quick question before I don't mean to cut you off.
Nah, you go, bro.
So they don't have, so there's nothing out there that they're producing.
So
that they
Haiti,
can, you know what I'm saying?
So back in the day, Haiti, after the Haitian Revolution, Haiti was like the largest producer of sugarcane. Okay. But you got to realize, after the Haitian Revolution, no majoring power wanted to import and export with Haiti. So they didn't want to trade with Haiti. So during that time, Haiti was really reliant on their own self-governing their own products and trying to move them their own way, building their own economy, because other countries didn't want to trade with you. So Spain, France, America, Italy don't want to trade with you. Kind of screwed, because you're not. How are you gonna make money off your product?
Yeah.
How are you gonna move your product? Buying. So Haiti now, do they produce a lot of things as they did in the past? No. They probably produce a few items, but a lot of their things like rice, different type of foods, those type of things that kind of, they have farmers that farm and make rice. They're not making a lot of money. So it kind of crushes the economy. So let's say this, right? Let's put an example. If you're a Haitian family, right, and y'all make like $4 or $5 a day, right? And there's a local farmer that sells rice for about $2 a bag. But there's a governmental NGO, a non-governmental organization that gives you 10 bags of rice for free. Where are you gonna go?
Okay, yeah, for sure. I'm grabbing the free stuff.
You're gonna grab the free stuff, right? So that kind of puts that economy, those rice farmers, out of business. So it's a lot of things. We can do a whole podcast on Haitian history and how the country has become, from being a great Black slave revolt country, being the first, to where it is now, the poorest country in the Western Hemisphere. It's a lot of things have happened to it that have made it the way it is now. That it doesn't get the same it doesn't get the same respect as other countries. Yeah. And we got to understand, Haiti is the country that did it on its own in the beginning. It didn't have any other country to help. And Haiti actually helped other countries in South America to liberate themselves from slavery and colonization. So it helped Venezuela, it helped other Southern American countries to kind of build that bridge. And if nobody knows this, Haiti, if you look at Haiti and Venezuela's flag, it's very similar to the colors, because Haiti aided Venezuela. Simon Bolivar, Haiti aided Venezuela by sending people to fight and help them fight off the Spanish to become their own country. So that's a lot of things people don't know. Like one quote, a gentleman said, if there was no Haitian revolution, there would be no Latin revolution. There would be no Spanish revolution.
Oh, dang.
So it comes first. Like
it says a lot, yo.
It's the one that laid the tracks for other countries, other Black countries, other independent countries to gain their freedom. All right. And just another fact that, slaves in Haiti were not the first to try, but they were the first to win their independence. These victories helped make it possible for the young United States to secure the Louisiana Purchase. So you got to realize, right? Let me put it in perspective, right? If you guys are not familiar with American history, just get yourself, acclimated to it, because you got to know the history that you're coming from. In the 1800s, when America was becoming, it was still a young country, it's only about 30 years old. There was an area of America that they were able to acquire, which is known as the Louisiana Purchase, which is like Louisiana, a bunch of other states in that area that was owned by the French. Haiti demolished the French during that time, that the French didn't want to enter into a battle with America because they were so tied up with Haiti that they didn't want to enter a battle to fight for that Louisiana Purchase. They just gave it to the Americans, like, yo, y'all can take it. Like, we'll sell it to you. because they just fought Haiti to the point where they were like, dang, if we can't fight these black slaves and we can't beat them, how the hell are we gonna beat the Americans?
Yeah.
They were so
Wow.
they were
Haiti
so
was over
tied
there
up in
kicking
that,
their ass.
kicking their ass, bro. So Haiti needs to be thanked for that, and that doesn't get brought into the conversation when we talk about history. You know, that doesn't get added into it. So
It's
people forget
crazy.
a
I
lot
never
about that.
heard that.
I'm
Never
telling
heard
you,
that
man.
before.
Haiti set a lot of presidents when it comes to that. All right, I got a couple other things, you know, we need to talk about when it comes to Toussaint. Um, so like I was explaining to you, Toussaint was very intelligent. He's the one that came and seen, you know, he was trained by the French military. He knew everything, but when he seen what was going on in Haiti, he didn't like it. So he decided he was going to fight for his country and try to gain independence. And they actually did. 1804, they won their independence, but it came at a cost. Um, you know, if we're speaking about what happened to Toussaint, you know, in 1802, the end was near under the pretense of discussing peace. So he was discussing peace with a French general named Jean-Baptiste Brunet. Okay, and he sent him a letter, say, "Yo, Toussaint, come. You know, let's discuss these options. Let's discuss how we can be on equal terms." Everybody knows that when a white person tells you, "Hey, you know, come over here, we'll talk about something. You know, we're gonna try to be on the same page." It's not always gonna end. It's not always gonna end well. So
Hidden agenda type shit.
exactly. So when Toussaint came to Fort de Joux, which is in the Jura Mountains of France, he was in prison. You know, and this was in 1802. You know, so during this time, the Haitian Revolution began in 1791. So Haiti and France were battling through about almost damn near 11 years. They're battling. So at this time, Haiti's already got France by the neck, like, yo, we're gonna get our independence. But Toussaint was so ingrained with the idea of maybe we can work something out. Maybe they can think of us as equals. His thinking, his naivety, his naiveness was also his demise. Because when he got to Fort de Joux, you know, in France, they imprisoned him and interrogated him. And within 6 months, he died from starvation and pneumonia. So we got to understand, like, even the greats fall to this deceit and demise because of the greater power that may be. So, you know, he was trying so hard to be thought of as an equal that's what cost him. You know, he devised this whole plan. He came up with the Haitian Constitution. He did so much great work. He wasn't even able to see his great work become what it became, and that's Haiti's independence. So we got to remember, we got to salute this guy because he brought up Haiti from the depths of it, led a successful revolt, the first of its kind, actually winning it, first Black republic to win their slave revolt. You know, he led these people to victory, but he was not able to see it. And he gained the knowledge, he gained the experience, he did everything he could do to try to get equal footing, try to let France see, like, you're with the same person. But they still didn't want to see that. They didn't want to accept it. And they thought by killing Toussaint, we will be able to do what we can. Now we got him on here. Now we'll be able to get the country. But if I can I slide into my next person?
Please, go ahead, bro.
Okay. So, you know, people don't know about Jean-Jacques Dessalines. Like, Haitian people, you know, people that are born in Haiti, you know, Jean-Jacques Dessalines is very special to them because he's the person that came with that force. And you got to remember, Toussaint during that time, Jean-Jacques Dessalines, Toussaint at that time, he was pretty much the general. Jean-Jacques was his lieutenant. So I'm gonna say some facts about Jean-Jacques, and then I'm gonna put a lot of stuff in perspective when it comes to him. So when we talk about Jean-Jacques, you know, he was Toussaint's lieutenant. He was born in the French colony of Saint-Domingue. So Saint-Domingue, it was was Haiti at the before Haiti was Haiti. So Saint Domingue was the capital between Haiti and the Dominican Republic. So that's where he was born. So he was born in Haiti. Toussaint wasn't. Toussaint was born in Grenada, and he came to Haiti. Okay, he was born from Congolese parents, so people from West Africa, from the Congo.
Yeah.
He was born from that descent. Um, Unlike Toussaint, Dessalines was treated harshly as a slave, and violence became a way of life and marked him throughout his military and brief political career, contributing both to his success on the battlefield and then the downfall. So those two men, they were treated differently when it came to slavery. Toussaint wasn't beaten or broken or anything like. He was treated more of a man of respect from his master. Dessalines was treated like shit. He was beaten. He knew heart in his heart of heart that this individual, these white men, they're the ones we need to kill. We need to get them out of here. So he was already brought with that hate. He wasn't treated fair. He was already brought and treated the scum of the earth.
Yeah.
Okay. So he wasn't able to read and write. His master didn't say, hey, we're going to bring you up. We're going to do it. No. They treated him like shit and did what they had to do with him, right? His nickname was His nickname was given the Tiger because he was so furious in battle on the battlefield. So you got to think about how a tiger moves, quick, swift, take a big bite out of you. That's how Dessalines moved on the battlefield. Okay, in 1794, his military skill and leadership was vital to Toussaint because in his success in capturing the Spanish-controlled eastern half of the island. So let's put it in perspective, right? Remember how I told you French owned one side, Spain on another side, right? Which later became Haiti and Dominican Republic. Mm-hmm. Dessalines was so immersed in the battlefield, he was able to fight off the Spanish and gain that control of that half of the island to give Haiti the full control of that island. That's how dangerous he was on the battlefield, right? Okay. In 1802, Dessalines appeared to be siding with the French, but the move was nothing more than a ruse designed to trick the French into trusting Dessalines so that he could regroup the insurgents and continue to fight for independence. So this guy was a master of trickery. He was able to smooth talk his way. Even though he wasn't taught how to read and write, he gained that knowledge through his experience on the battlefield. So he was able to trick the French and say, you know what, guys, let's be friends. And all that, kissing the ass and doing all that, he was able to come in there, circumvent his way in there, and boom, attack. However, independence did not bring peace, and from January 1804 until his death, 2 years later, Dessalines governed with terror. Okay, and then I'm gonna put a little bit of how he hated white people. This is gonna show you, right? Okay, fearing a French resurgence and the reinstatement of slavery that would accompany it, he ordered the massacre of approximately 5,000 of the island's white men, women, and children, declaring, I have saved my country, I have avenged America. So that his mindset was like, I don't want any of these white folks coming back and re-enslaving us. I don't want to live that life anymore. So he was already on that type of, mindset where he didn't want it anymore, right? Okay, but it was a move that two of Dessalines' most influential generals, Alexander Pétion and Henri Christophe, could not countenance, and one that spoke to the growing political instability of the new government. So you got to realize Dessalines was so powerful that his death came from the hands of his own men that he trained and loved. So in August 17, 1806, Dessalines met a violent death at the hands of his own lieutenant when he was ambushed, his body dragged through the streets before it was dismembered. The example of the Haitian Revolution and leaders such as Louverture and Dessalines have become both an inspiration and a warning about the possibilities and dangers of a revolution. So he was killed by his own lieutenant because of how he was governing it, because they didn't see eye to eye. That just shows you Dessalines, when the Constitution was created, Dessalines put in, now it's been changed because of the Americans coming in, they changed the Constitution. When the Constitution was first created, Dessalines put in there that no person that is not of Haitian descent or that is Haitian, born in Haiti, cannot own land. Now foreigners can own land in Haiti. That's the problem.
Yeah. So, question:
Go ahead, bro.
do you think that should have still been implemented, or if do you think it should have been implemented? And if it was, would Haiti still be in the predicament that they're in now?
So you're talking about if the Constitution was never altered?
Yeah, as far as foreigners being able to buy land there.
I think a lot of it, um, if Haiti was had the ability and the capability to kick all the foreigners out, then yes, I think they would become more self-reliant because there's too many influences in Haiti. Like right now, if we just look at today's history, right? The president was killed. The Haitian president was assassinated in his own home,
Mm-hmm.
and they still don't know who did it. That already tells you that that's a problem. Because if we flip it, if America's president was assassinated, they would have caught that bastard that same day. That's the problem. There's too many hidden things or secrets that are going on in that country that lead to its demise. So yes, I believe Haiti, if they were able, if an insurgence was created and Haiti was able to kick out every foreign entity and kind of only have allies, but putting someone in power that's incorruptible, someone that cannot be corrupt, because that's another problem. Certain individuals that came into power in Haiti were corrupt, and they were able to take money and do all this other stuff to the country and lead it to its demise and what it is now. So I'm not going to blame everything on outside influences, but a lot of it is because you got to remember, like if we just look at history, right? America occupied Haiti for about 30 plus years after World War I. We don't even know why they did that, right? Because it was for political instability, right? America has a way of finding itself in the middle of Haiti and kind of being the person that the big brother and saying, yo, we're going to allow you to do this, that, and the third, and always having a hand in the political election and always having a candidate. That's the problem I have with America. They continue to have their hands into places that they don't need to be. Don't get me wrong, I love my country. I just don't love how it handles
how they meddle in other people's business.
Exactly. And I always, and in my mind, I've always said that Haiti is a great place for America to set up territory because it's in the Caribbean. It's close to Southern America. It's where if they wanted to set up a army base there or a naval base or anything like that, it would be great for them because any attack coming from the seas, they could see it. Mm-hmm. It's a great place. That's why they're always meddling in it because they know that if Russia was able to put a base there, America will be shitting bricks.
Boy.
And it's crazy because let me put this, if people don't know, right? A lot of Haitian people, right? They're tired of America coming. If you ask any Haitian person or even Haitian that live in America now, they're tired of Americans meddling in their business. They would rather settle for like the Chinese or the Russians to come in and be an ally.
Damn, it's getting like that?
The only reason, right? Because if you think about the Chinese, right? The Chinese are different. They'll come and build stability, build roads, make your country more stable, be more of a manufacturer. But the only thing with China is they bring their own people. They're not going to allow you to work and do all that. They'll bring their own people, but they'll make their country stable. They just won't use your people. They'll bring their own people. So they'll come, they'll build the roads, they'll build the hospitals, they'll build all that, but they're going to use their own people.
Which sucks. I thought they would have employed folks.
No. What? Yeah. No, because that's the same thing that's happening in Jamaica right now. Jamaica has the aid of the Chinese, or I think it's the Taiwanese, but a lot of the businesses that they built and created stability with, they brought their own people in. That's why when you sign those contracts and you allow them to do that, they'll tell you straight up like, yo, we're not using your people. We're going to use our people. We're going to allow them to come there and work. We don't need you guys. We just want you. We're just going to build your country up. Now, if it's Russia, it might be a little bit different. They might have a little bit more leeway, but every country has an agenda. Yeah. So if you allow yourself to be in bed with them, just know that something is going to happen in return. America will just come and suck up the resources and won't do anything. Might come and just build a house and that's it, but they'll suck up every resource. They won't build anything. They'll suck up all the resources. At least China will come in and say, hey, you know what? Let me build this. We'll build your country. We'll build a couple hospitals, but our people are going to come and live here, and they'll be given land and all that. You can't say anything about it. See, that's the issue. It's a give and take on which country you kind of pick to be an ally
I
with.
can dig it. That's
yeah, it's
yeah.
it's
Hey,
crazy.
yeah, it is, yo. Everybody got their own hidden agenda, man. God damn,
Yeah.
boy.
But just
Could all be so simple.
to tie it all again. Toussaint Louverture, Jean-Jacques Dessalines, they had different ideas, but their main goal was to get liberation for the country of Haiti. And I idolize these two men because even though they had two different ideals, they put them aside and they went for the one common goal. Even though Toussaint was not able to see it, Jean-Jacques carried it out and gained independence because he knew what was needed to happen to make this country what it is. So much respect to these two gentlemen. They definitely shape the way I look at things and you know how I look at Haiti and where it comes from. You know, even my grandma, you know, she's about 85 years old and she was born in the 1920s. So you got to realize the generation before her was born in like the 1800s, you know. So she's lived through a lot. And she always, her thing is like, because I would always say, yo, grandma, you know, Haiti, you know, the first Black republic, da 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 da. And she would always say, I'm tired of people saying that. When is Haiti gonna do something better than that? When is Haiti gonna live up to what they said? Because she's lived through it all. She's lived through corruption. She's lived through American occupation. She's lived through dictators. She's lived through coup d'etats. She's lived through it all, living in Haiti. So Haiti has a rough history, but you know, I know that this country can become something better than what it is. It's just going to take time. It can't be overnight. But a lot of people want instant results, and you just can't get that.
Yeah, nah, that's a fantasy. That's something that the internet paints these days. You know what I'm saying? Instant gratification.
Right.
It's not that simple.
No, not at all, bro.
Simple at all. Damn, man, that's dope though, bro. Get a folks them two names again.
Yeah, so Toussaint Louverture and Jean-Jacques Dessalines. So Toussaint was the general, Jean-Jacques was the lieutenant in the Haitian Revolution. So those gentlemen, definitely look them up, do your research. I know they have books on them. I don't have any books on them right now. I'm not going to give you any information on that, but I know they have them. Check out Amazon. Definitely if you want to do some research on them. They have tons of books out there on them, Haitian Revolution. So check it out, man.
It's dope, man. That's dope. Man, shout out to Haiti, yo. Cause you put me on game, bro. I told you before, we've talked about it before. I really don't know much about Haiti at all. And then every time you do hear something about it through, you know, media outlets or whatever, it's something bad or something going on with the country. So thank you for dropping them goddamn jewels, bro. I appreciate that.
No problem. Oh yeah, and just a little thing. If you guys are not familiar with Tariq Nasheed, he did a documentary on Haiti. I think it's called Untold History of Haiti. Definitely check that out. It talks about a lot of different things from the beginning of Haiti, from the indigenous people, the Taino, the Arawak that inhabited it, how Christopher Columbus came in there and killed that whole population off. And you know, we're gonna talk about Christopher Columbus too. That man was a sadistic dude. But
talk about him on what platform?
On here.
Fuck that.
No, not giving him gratification, talking about what he did and how they try to paint him as this man of glory and all that. He's not.
Oh man,
yeah, that dude. We're not giving that man no gratification, brother.
That dude is a sick bastard. Like, bro, I just you know it's funny. When I was out there in Spain, right? We had like this. Once you first get to Spain, on that base, right? They have a class called ICR, and it's pretty much just a class to put you game on where you're living at, and they give you a little bit of the a talk about their history, the culture, this, that, and the third, right? And one of the ladies got to talking about Christopher Columbus and how he was buried under this cathedral in the city called Seville, right? It's probably about an hour and a half away from where we stayed at. And you know, she was just, you know, painting this cool ass picture of, it's so cool that Christopher Columbus buried there, da da da. And I'm sitting in the back of the class thinking, lady, I don't want to see no goddamn rapist. I don't give a damn where he's buried at.
Right.
That's sick. Yeah, no, that's okay. I mean, that's y'all's, whatever. That's y'all history, cool. But that man is not important to us Black folks in America. I can tell you that right now.
So let me ask you a question, bro. You know how now they tearing down these statues and of these people that they found knowledge of being a racist or being like a person that had a bunch of slaves and all that.
Yeah.
Do you think that are you in favor of them tearing down those monuments, or you like, nah, they should leave them up so we kind of know that? What do you think? What's your thoughts on that, bro?
That's funny. I was just talking with my girl about that today. They took down Robert E. Lee's
Right.
statue out here or out in Richmond, right? The hell with them. It shouldn't have been up in the first place.
Right.
Now, all right, so and then also let me be real about it too, right? It is a part of American history. Okay, it is a part of American history. But the type of shit that these folks did, it shouldn't be glorified. You know what I'm saying? Like, you shouldn't have a statue of this person, right? If they did some gruesome shit, they were fighting for slavery, right, to continue to hold down another race of people, then no, that shouldn't be a thing at all, right?
Right.
But and I know a lot of my folks being from the South, right? The Confederate flag, for example, right? That was that's like a source of heritage, Southern heritage, right?
Right.
Not necessarily, not necessarily just, for, the Union and what it stood for, right? That was just, a sign of, them being from the South. But people got to understand the history behind that, all right? That's not something to, that flag isn't something to be super proud of. Yes, that's a representation of you being in the South, right? And if that's the case, then come up with a Southern flag, all right? Come up with something that doesn't have this this history, this dark history behind it. You know what I'm saying? But to answer your question, yeah, get rid of all that shit. I don't want to see it. I want to see other things that help, that makes the country look better, right? That makes America look better. Put up statues of some people that actually did some good in this world. You know what I'm saying? People that actually really should be represented, instead of instead of people like Robert E. Lee or goddamn Confederate flag, or you know what I'm saying, whatever the case may be. Have those heroes up. But that's how I feel about it.
My take might be a little different from yours, but we have different opinions, because if we had the same opinions podcast, we'd be born. So I look at it like this, right? I don't like that those statues are up, but I don't want them taken down, because of the main reason that if we start allowing people to take down these individuals, then it can start rewriting history. So then they can start taking out these aspects out of textbooks. They can start doing saying that slavery never happened, this, that, and the third. I know that's a stretch, but I think those statues should stay up so people can be educated on why this person shouldn't be celebrated, but his statue is up because of X, Y, and Z. So I could care less about that statue being up, because at the end of the day, my child's gonna know what this person did and why he shouldn't be celebrated. But his statue's up because people, agree with what he fought for and this and that, his ideals. Fine, that this is America. I hate to say that, but this is America, and people do have their freedoms and who they should support, who they love. freedom of their rights. But I think that certain statues, I say leave them alone. Let them be up as a reminder that America treasured this person for the wrong ideas. If we erase the bad things that happen in America and only put the good things up, then people are never going to know the truth.
Yeah.
That's how I look at it, bro. That's how I look at it, because we got America has a nasty, disgusting history.
For sure.
That if we start just saying, well, the Trails of Tears didn't happen, where they made the Native Americans walk thousands of miles, dying, walking, forcing them into reservations, lying on peace treaties, taking their land. That's a lot of disgusting things that
giving them blankets with smallpox.
Giving them blankets with smallpox. Absolutely. So, these things have to be said and restated in history. Christopher Columbus should not be celebrated. Point blank, period. That's why, his day is synonymous with Indigenous Peoples Day, because it celebrates the Native Americans that are from this country and were born in this country, and they're the first people of this land. We got to remember that, because we're all immigrants. That's one thing a lot of people forget. We're not from this land. We're not from this
land. It's laws that the Constitution doesn't even govern us as full men. All right, right. We only two-thirds of a man.
Yeah. So that was one thing that I don't like that part of American history, but I'll never forget it, and I would always like it to be reminded to me that this thing's happened, because I don't want my son to grow up in this country and he thinks everything is daisies and flowers and nothing ever bad happened, or there was never any racism in this country. Heck no, man. You're gonna know about all these things, and you're gonna understand. Who cares if these statues are up? I'm gonna teach you. I'm gonna explain to you why these people should not be celebrated. Point blank, period. You tear them up,
that's facts. That's facts. But you know what? That's why we have museums. All right.
Exactly.
If people want to learn about some shit like that, cool. Go to a museum.
Yeah.
Go to a museum. You move the statue to a museum where it's dedicated to educate people like that. But for it to be out in the open, that's like somebody showing, you know what I'm saying? They flexing, you know what I'm saying? This is what my city is known for. We got this man right here, you know what I'm saying? He rode for the Confederates, you know what I'm saying? He was a leader of Confederates, they was holding down these people. That to me is like flexing, you know what I'm saying? This is the type of power that we had. So let me put it in a museum.
So hold on. So you would be okay with a museum that had all the racist stuff in it?
Yeah, because that would be, I would be okay with that.
In DC, you would be okay with a museum that had every racial epithet, every racist individual, every person that held slaves, every KKK member, every supremacist. You would be okay with a museum like that?
For educational purposes.
Swastikas and
for educational purposes.
And okay, all right.
For educational purposes.
Hey, I ain't mad at that, bro. I ain't mad at it. For educational purposes. Okay, I can see that.
I mean, some people is gonna go in there, to get a sense of whatever the case may be. That's cool. Take your ass to that museum and do that. Right. If I'm sharing the same city with you, I don't want to see a bunch of people just standing around gloating about this shit. No, go to a museum. Go or put the shit in your house or your backyard.
So let me ask you another question, right? Because these museums have been up for like years, right? Years. Mm-hmm. Do you think that it's only because we're in this climate that they're allowed to be taken down now? Because if we go back to 20 years ago, nobody gave a fuck about a Robert E. Lee statue being up. Nobody gave a damn about a Thomas Jefferson statue being up. Nobody gave a damn about an Andrew Jackson statue being up or George Washington. Nobody cared. But is it because we're in this climate where now people are allowed to have these different views and allowed to say, well, this guy was racist and we have to cancel him and all this stuff? Is it because we're right?
I personally, I think it depends on where you at,
Right.
what part of the country you raised in, right? Because, excuse me, South Carolina, for example, I want to say when you rode through the streets of Charleston, it's different signs, or it was different street names of Confederate leaders or some shit like that, right? So the people that live there are constantly reminded about those things. You know what I mean? So maybe they didn't have the voice to speak on it, but I don't think the people wanted to live like that. They didn't want to see that shit all the time. You know what I'm saying? That's why I think it really depends on where you're at.
Right.
Even to this day, I mean, now people have a voice. You know, 20 years ago, people didn't have a voice. You know, they wasn't secure or confident enough to speak out against things like this, or you know, but yeah, I mean, but also, I'm like, I feel what you're saying though. People do need to be reminded of these things, but it's kind of like a double-edged sword. It's like, all right, yeah, you got folks that's gonna be reminded of this shit still, right? And then you also have people that's gonna grow up still telling the story, and they're gonna still push the lines behind why that statue needs to be put up. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Because it's all
continuing that cycle.
Right.
That needs to be deaded. If the world plans on changing, you got to start somewhere.
So I got this other question. I'm smiling because this question I'm about to ask you, right? Do you think cancel culture is something that we need for this progression, or do you think it's something that you're just tired of seeing? Because if we're gonna dive deep, right? Cancel culture is the reason why people are taking these statues down, because of the previous racism, or they've owned slaves and all this other stuff. They're being these whether you like them or not, these historical figures are being taken down because of they've owned slaves and everything. Like, everybody knows that Thomas Jefferson cheated on his wife with a black slave, and they had a bunch of children. Everybody knows that. Like, that's in the history. You can go Google that. You'll find it. Yeah. Everybody knows that. It didn't bother anybody back like 20 years ago. But I think do you think cancel culture should it continue, or do you think that, you know what, maybe we should dumb it down? Because I'll be honest, people get canceled. People are getting canceled for the craziest things.
No, you're right. What the fuck is a cancel culture? What is it? Right? Like, it's a bunch of people on the internet, social media. You know, everybody feels like they have an opinion these days, which is okay. All right, I understand. Like I said, you have a voice, use it. Okay, cool. But I feel like the masses sometimes, man, like, are just it's like herding sheep. All right, if you have a bunch of sheep that's following this one trend or this shepherd, right? They're having them doing some dumb shit. Okay, like, I don't think people are thinking logically. Like, they're not thinking for themselves, and that's which is a great segue for my next for my next hero. But people aren't thinking for themselves. Or it's getting to a point where I think that they're getting away from thinking for themselves again, right? Because everything is so influential online.
Right, absolutely.
Okay,
absolutely.
Like cancel culture. Who came up with that? Where did it start from?
And I think a lot of it is, bro, like, you know, that's why I'm saying, like, with cancel culture, if we allow people to continue to say, well, this person was this person was that, he shouldn't be celebrated. Granted, there's a lot of people in history that we shouldn't celebrate. I'm not saying we should celebrate them. I'm saying that they should not be canceled. They should be, you know, still in the history books, still be talked about, because it's relevant to what they did. Now, a lot of people are not going to agree with certain individuals. Like, a lot of people don't like what Martin Luther King did, because he was the front man into trying to go for integration. You know, there's gonna a lot of people that don't like that.
Yeah.
So, you know, I think that, and you know, I was watching the documentary. Speaking of Martin Luther King, you know, the documentary was talking about how he was a philanderer, you know, a womanizer. You know, he had multiple women and all this other type of stuff. Is he going to be canceled in the next 10, 20 years when the FBI releases the tapes that they recorded of his conversation with all these women?
Leave it up to social media, he will.
And that's what I'm saying. It's crazy to think that you would cancel Dr. Martin Luther King. That is astounding to me.
Yeah, it is. It is. And you know what? And these white folks are probably saying the same shit about Robert E. Lee. So it's one of them things, dog. It's like, I don't know, man. We live in a very interesting time, bro. We live in a very interesting time. And like riding down this highway, right? What's the name of it? US 460. It's this little back road highway out here in Virginia, right? And we was riding, and my sister was like, "Joe, look to your right."
Right.
Bruh, it's slave shacks right on the side of the highway. You can't miss it. Like, it's there for you to see it. You know what I'm saying? Bro, I have like about a 6'6" wingspan. All right. I could probably wrap my arms around that drum. Okay. I bring that up because it's still there as a reminder, to me
Exactly.
at least.
Exactly.
It's still there as a reminder that this is where this shit happened, right? Now, it's either, and I took it two ways, right? Because I had to think about it. What kind of reminder is that? Is it a reminder that you know where you at? It's these, I mean, and these homes, they still look new, bro. They look like they've been restored. So I'm thinking it's there for historical reasons, right?
Absolutely.
I get home to try to look it up. Nothing. So is it there as a reminder to Black folks to remind you where you're at? It's this, we still out here. This is still some racism out here in this land, or is it there for historical purposes?
You know what? I think that we need to leave that alone because it is a reminder of where our ancestors came from. You know, and what they did, what they survived, what they went through for us to be where we're at. Mm-hmm. So I think those type of things, they're reminders that, not necessarily saying like, oh, look, this is where Black people, because Black people, we don't, I need people to understand, like the listeners, our history is not started with slavery.
It sure ain't.
Get it right. Our history is not started with slavery, because you got to understand, when I was growing up in middle school and high school, history started as slavery. That's all they knew. People don't go back to Africa and Egypt. They don't talk about that. You don't learn that in social studies. You don't learn that in history. They don't talk about those things.
People don't know who these cats are, bro. People don't know who they are, man.
You get what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
So, and I know, like, and our listeners listening, you know, we're not trying to be off topic here. It's just certain of these things, like when we talk about these things and we kind of get a little sidetracked, it all ties in, it all wraps around to what we're talking about. Mm-hmm. So we don't get lost in the sauce. We're gonna tie it all together.
Yeah, it's all in there. Like, all right, yeah. So to get back on topic, right? And to piggyback off of what we were speaking on earlier, right? With you know, people getting away from not thinking for themselves, right? That type of thinking can be scary for a world or a country or a government that wants shit controlled, right?
Absolutely.
They want everything in their control. But when you have people like Bob Marley, for example, who is my next Black hero, right? He was one of those cats that was feared by his government, that was feared by the people in power in his country because of the message that he was putting out to people, right? he was forcing people to think for themselves in the messages in a lot of his songs, redemption song, um, Africa Unite, you know what I'm saying? One Drop, things of that nature, right? He's putting these messages in these people's heads, telling them that they need to return back home and reminding them that they kings and queens and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Especially back then, that was dangerous, okay? But so, like I said, my second hero is Bob Nesta Marley, okay? Bob was born in 9 Mile, British Jamaica, okay? That was pretty much like the countryside of Jamaica. Now, granted, when he grew up, or as he got older, he ended up moving into Trenchtown, right? A lot of people may know what Trenchtown is. That you've probably seen it in a lot of the matter of fact, Trenchtown is kind of like the slums of Kingston, if I'm not wrong, if I'm not mistaken. Jamaica is a third world country. Okay, so they went through a lot of stuff back in the day. All right, and a lot of people out there are, what we consider, poor places in America, right? These poor places in America still have, running water. They have indoor plumbing. They have running water. You can still walk down the street, go to a store with lights and things of that nature. The slums in Jamaica does not have that. Okay, a lot of these homes are like built out of freaking like 10. It's like they're like 10 shacks. Okay, so it's pretty rough, man. But so Bob Marley, in 1963 he formed Bob Marley and the Wailers, right? Everybody know who Bob is. He's one of the best reggae artists to ever bless the microphone, to bless the stage. I mean, that man's presence was so big, for Jamaica, right? Like, he kind of became, or not even kind of, but he was more like an idol, right? Very peaceful man. He was a Rastafarian, okay? Major Rastafarian. He was very, very in depth with his, what the hell's going on out there? He was he was very invested into his religion, right? So invested, right? That it was what year was that? Man, I want to say in 19 freaking, what year was that, man? I got notes all over the freaking place. Okay, 1976. For the people that don't know, Jamaica's political environment is bad. Okay, it's like I saw an interview with Damian Marley, right, and he was saying that their politics is like Crip or Blood, right? If you're born on one side of Jamaica, then you will be a part of the JLB, which is the Jamaican Labour Party. And if you're born on the other side, it's the PNP, People's National Party. All right. And if you're not in the same political group, shit could get ugly. I mean, shootouts, a lot of corruption, whatever. All right. Now, Bob was actually shot. I don't think a lot of people know that, but he was shot. It was pretty much an attempt on his life, right? It was some cats that had ran up on his compound, 56 Hope Road, which I hope I get to visit that place one day. It's over in Kingston, right? And it's a part of Kingston where a lot of the rich folks stay at, right? But 56 Hope Road was a neutral ground for anybody. All right. If you came there, you only came there for one reason, and it was to shoot the shit with Bob. You can talk about whatever, but that's like holy ground, right? You don't do anything there. Okay. You leave all those problems outside of there. Okay. So it was a election time, and it was somehow, some way, word got out that Bob was going for one party and not the other. Okay. Bad news for him. Okay. So it was a group of people that ended up coming onto his compound. Normally it's guarded. When they got there, the guards are nowhere to be found. His wife, Rita Marley, is actually getting ready to exit the compound. These guys roll up, shoot her in the head. Granted, I mean, she didn't die or anything, thank goodness. The bullet had grazed her, right? But they thought they had killed her. They go into the house. His manager ends up getting shot. Then Bob ends up getting shot. Now they were saying that if he was actually like inhaling at that time, just casually breathing, that bullet would have pierced his heart.
Jesus.
He was actually exhaling. Boom. Bullet grazed him, hit him in his chest, hit him in his arm. Crazy, right? Wow. That's a blessed man. Okay. So fast forward, he ends up performing at this concert that was supposed to happen, right? Then he leaves. He goes to England for 2 years. He's so upset with his country. It's like, why are people turning against me? I'm not that type of guy, right? I'm out here trying to push peace. I'm pushing my music, pushing love. That's what I'm about. All right. Now he ends up coming back to Jamaica in '78, right? And he performs at this One Love Peace concert, right? So only this time he was joined by those two political leaders that were beefing at the time. His name was Michael Manley, was a part of the People's National Party, and Edward Seaga was part of the Jamaican Labour Party. Fun fact about him, they used to call him CIA Aga because he was influenced by a lot of American politics. Sounds very familiar to what was going on in Haiti, right?
Mm-hmm.
So so he joins these guys together on stage, right, just to show them that it's peace. But prior to that, right, he's performing jamming. Okay, a lot of people know that song, with jamming. All right, he's out there doing his thing, right? Now he's so in tune with the music. He's having a conversation with God, right? Or Jah, as they call it, right? I don't even think the man realized that he was performing at this point in time. He's just doing his thing. He's having a conversation, and then he asked for these two guys to join him on stage, right? By the time he gets through with his chant, bro, a bolt of lightning just streaks down right in front of him, right? I mean, well, it looks like it's right in front of him, right? Now, when I see that video or even just talk about it, that gives me freaking chills, right? Because it's like God was communicating back to this man. Like, that's how in tune that man was with his religion. And for something like that to happen while he's performing, you can call it irony. I call it an actual something spiritual actually happening.
Absolutely.
Right? So that right there is just dope as shit. But 1978, right? Or I'm sorry, 1977, Bob ends up injuring his right big toe. He was a big fan of soccer, right? So he thought he just had injured it, from soccer. Pain is getting worse, the bruise is getting a little darker. He goes and gets checked. They end up taking a sample, a skin sample of his toe. Come to find out, it's a form of cancer. Okay. Now they told him, like, Bob, this is kind of serious. We're gonna have to amputate. We're gonna have to amputate your foot. But like I said, he was so involved with his religion, getting amputated was a no-no for his religion.
Right.
He said no. Just remove whatever pieces that you need to remove. Leave me the hell alone, type thing. All right. So they did, right, and he was good to go. But I want to say, maybe 4 years later, he ends up getting sick again, and they find that he has a tumor in his brain and his lung. All right. And then the rest is history, man. Bob ended up passing away, but Bob to me is so important because he was a man of peace and love, right? Something that's missing in this world. Very wise, right? I mean, he passed away at the age of 36, okay? But, one of my favorite videos from him is, he was being interviewed by this, I think he might have been like a British reporter or something. And, the man was just asking him, like, do you have a lot of money? Or do you have a lot of possessions? Like, possessions, what you mean? Like, are you a rich man? And then when you mean rich, what you mean? Like, do you have a lot of money? Like, or do you have a lot of possessions? Possessions make you rich? I don't have any possessions. My richness is life, forever. That says a lot to me about the type of person that he was. He like, not materialistic at all. All that man wanted to do was live. You know what I mean? Live and be happy and spread that happiness with other people around the world, which is what made him, so powerful in a sense, right? Because the way that he lived, he wanted other people to live like that. And it started spreading to other parts of the world, right? To where you had you had a cult following of people that wanted to just spread love. All right. Now, my theory, and this just that, the conspiracy side of me, and other people, say the same things, right? A lot of people feel like Bob was taken out because of that, right? Because of his, influence on the world, right? And to the fact where, or to the point where, he could have a huge political influence, right? If you have one country that you can bring together when you have two different parties that's going at each other's neck, but you have the ability to have all these people in one room, or a huge setting, and it's no violence, no anything like that. They're just here to see you. That says a lot, and that's scary. That's some scary shit, right? But yeah, man. So a couple other facts about Bob. He was he was a major advocate for marijuana legalization. It's a part of his religion. That's what he did. But he didn't think he was hurting anybody. That the man would smoke and he would meditate. That's a way for him to think. You know what I mean? And he was also a major advocate for Pan-Africanism. He wanted people to go back to Africa and figure out where they was from. And all that good stuff. So, the fact that he was still, in tune with, going back to Africa when he is a Jamaican man, that says a lot. But I hope to one day reach that level of peace. You know, I'm a little bit of a hippie my damn self, right? And I'm trying to work on changing my mindset, um, and all that good stuff. We got a special guest.
Yeah, the baby and Judea.
Hello. Can anybody hear me?
Coffee break.
Oh man.
Sorry.
Hey y'all, that's my sister-in-law right there. She's so cool. My boy Matt got himself a good one. You hear me? I was just bragging to the people about how dope your wife was, man. I got a cool ass sister-in-law.
Yeah, facts. My wife, she's one of one, you know, and that's not cap. That's just facts. Like when you find somebody that can really meet your level, you know, sexually, intellectually, and spiritually, you got somebody that you need to hold on to.
That's facts, man. That's facts.
So I ain't letting it go anytime soon.
So
you better not. All you horny men out there, she's mine. Get your own. Get your own.
Amen to that, man. But yeah, y'all. If y'all ever get a chance to you know, do some YouTube diving, check out Bob. You know, look at a lot of his interviews and listen to the words that this man spoke into existence. You know what I mean? Like I say, he was very wise, man. And you know, I too hope to reach that level of wisdom and peace. Because we live in a messed up world, man. We live in a messed up world, and everything is like, you know, you got people out here in this world that just want to sit around and watch the world burn. For what? I don't understand, you know, who wants to sit around and be miserable all day, and, you know, just for what, man? Like, I love people, but it's you know, I'm so messed up in the head, you know, from the world, not in a bad way, but think about it though. We can be over, like, especially Black folks, right? We can be overly aggressive with certain things that we hear or say because of the things that we see, right? The way we grew up.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Like, look at the music that we listen to, you know, or the movies that we see, right? We're depicted in a bad light. That's why, side note, that's why a lot of Africans don't like Black folks in America, because that's what they see. You know what I'm saying? And
that's true.
So it's not, I mean, we're programmed like that, unfortunately, right? Now, and it takes a lot to, you know, to undo those things mentally, right? Like, I feel like we need to normalize Black men, especially, speaking to each other when we're just casually walking down the street. You know what I'm saying? You walk up to somebody, you walk past, let's say me and you walk past each other. We don't know each other from a can of paint. We walk past each other, and it's like you looking to see if you gonna head nod or not. And then when you don't, it's right. Like, all right, well, fuck, you know what I'm saying? All right, well, fuck, all right, cool, whatever. But why is that? You know?
You know, it's crazy, bro. I'm gonna be honest. Like, if I'm riding through the hood, I ain't looking at nobody. I'm looking straight. I'm keeping my head on a swivel. I ain't stopping. I ain't saying hello to nobody. But I think that's just a bad conditioning that we kind of got to work out of, because at the end of the day, like, if somebody gonna harm you, they're gonna harm you. But, you know, if you say what's up to somebody, you treat them with respect, they're not gonna do nothing to you, because it's a genuine thing. Yeah. You know, and I do think that, you know, we need to say what's up to Black men. Need to speak to other Black men and say what's up and be like, yo, what's up, King? How you? Like, you know, that's like, in the older generation, that was something. Like, they used to do that. They would speak to each other. Yeah. Now we don't even do that, man. We don't say what's up to each other. We don't say, how you doing, man? How's everything going? Like, it's all a thing of, like, I don't know what this dude gonna do. Like,
yeah, like it's, people want to be hard all the time, right, man. It's like, for what, bro? For what? Like, dude, man, it's all love. You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
It's all love. You know what I mean? Because I know in my heart, um, I know I'm not a bad person, and I know you're not either.
Right.
It's just, you know, like you said, conditioning. You know, we're conditioned to act this way. Um, and if you want to take it even a little further than that, you know, if you actually believe in the Willie Lynch theory, right? In the Willie Lynch letter, right? It's in there, you know, it's a lot of things that Willie Lynch said that Black folks supposed to go against each other, right? Put the dark skin against the light skin, put the man against the woman, put the older man against the younger child. You know what I mean? It was a lot of rules that they wanted us to go against each other, right? And back when that letter was written, you know, they said that shit was going to carry on for years.
You know what's crazy? I'm thinking of. Go ahead, bro. My bad. I think I
No,
cut you
not. I
off.
mean, and it's facts. I mean, it's not facts, but well, about the letter, because a lot of people feel like that was just, you know, that was fake. But
Right.
whether it was fake or not, that's actually real. That's still happening today.
Yeah,
You know
that's
what I
that,
mean?
and it's a lot of. It goes under a lot of words like colorism,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of different things that you can kind of put into place. But what I was about to say was there was a video I watched, and it was a video, and when I get what the video was called, I'll try to plug it back into this to this podcast. But it was a video I watched a while ago, and it was a video. It had to be come out in the 1970s, and it was pretty much a group of white politicians sitting around at a dinner table, and the guy opens up and he says, you know, you liberals, why do you treat Black people the way you do? Why do you why do you host them up and give them the good jobs and do all this stuff? It was pretty much a conservative talking to a liberal, right? And the liberal responds back, because we don't want to leave that educated Black man in his community, because that's when he'll do better. He'll build up his community. We'd rather move him out of his community, give him the high paying job, integrate him in our society, so he forgets about where he came from. Literally, the video was conservatives and liberals talking to each other, white conservatives, white liberals, and pretty much saying, why do you do this? Why do you do that? And he gives a response of why he did that. Why did they move that way? Because that's a lot of people gotta understand, right? You know, and I know we might be getting a little off topic, but I don't give a damn. This is important. You know, when we talk about, you know, politics, conservatism, someone being a conservative, someone being a liberal, you can still be racist. Either way, either way, either if you're liberal or conservative, you can still be racist.
Yeah.
Like that doesn't mean anything. That just means,
That's
you
just a
know,
political stance.
yeah, liberal just means you're more progressive. Conservative just means you're pretty much you're constant. You don't want any change, but you still can be a racist. Like that doesn't mean anything to me. That's why when people say, "Well, I'm a liberal," no, bro, you can still be racist. That's why you don't understand this and that and the third, or even as a conservative, that's why you want things to stay the way they are. Like it at the end of the day, people have to understand that racism comes in different phases and different waves, regardless of a person's political agenda or where they see themselves or what they are. They can still be racist. So just take that into consideration. And I know we talking about peace and love, and, you know, rest in peace to Bob Marley, but, you know, this kind of goes with what we're talking about the hate and all this stuff in the world nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's still racism, there's still prejudice, there's still a lot of things that happen um, in the country or even in the world that, you know, still people need to shed a light on.
Yeah, yeah. Which is it's so unfortunate, man. The hate somehow is always going to have that platform, yo.
Right.
Always. I mean, you turn on the news right now. How much good are you going to get out of the news?
Right,
Or
like one out of every 10 stories.
exactly. You know, I don't know, man. I feel like people are, you know, they govern themselves off of fear and hate.
Yeah, absolutely.
Um, you know, why? You know, why is that such an important thing? You know, why does that need to be absorbed through every person's eyes? And why is it not enough love?
I think it's hate sells, fear sells, love doesn't. I think the media plays a big role in that because you gotta understand, right?
Huge goddamn role.
The media plays a lot of roles in kind of depicting the narrative. So if we see, and we talked about this on several occasions before the podcast, if we see a white officer shoot a black guy, we automatically assume that guy was racist and what he did was just ridiculous and he should go to prison for the rest of his life, right? We might not know the whole story. You might get like a 10-second clip and we'll just jump to that assumption because that's what we think in our hearts of hurt. That's what's true. But then when the real shit comes out, this, that, and the third, I'm not saying every case is like this, but we jump to that because of the hate that we have inside of us. We automatically assume that dude was racist because that's what we're portraying to us. That's what the narrative is.
What we used to saying.
Exactly. So I think a lot of it to blame is the media. And I think they don't really put a lot of the loving thing. They always put the crash and burn, the hate, the racial injustice, all that stuff in there to kind of be perpetrated in our brains. Like this is what the world is. And sometimes, the world is filled with hate and stuff, but there's still love out there. We just got to find it.
See, and that's what I'm saying, man. Like when I say it's something wrong with me, it's because of the way that I'm conditioned to think when it comes to certain things like that. Right. Now, granted, I'm definitely moving a lot, moving and thinking a lot different from when I was younger. You know what I mean? Because I know what's more important now. You know what I'm saying? And I hold my family closer. I try to, at least, especially now that I'm back. I plan on being around my family a lot more, and not gravitating towards the things that makes our adrenaline rush. You know what I mean? Right. Personally, after being around the world, I want to live a simple life, and
you want to be a farmer?
Not let what happened? I'm about to get a straw hat and everything. I can fix that. You know what I'm saying?
Get the overalls.
Yeah,
popping.
That's what I want to do. I want to be like the guy for hoes, bro. He used to go around fixing the people. What's that lady name? He was fixing her school. I can fix that. That's what I want to do.
Sam.
Yeah. I'm trying to be a Sam, bro. That's what I want to do. Oh, with the goddamn donkey, Mary Lou. You feel me? Like exactly. Nah, bro. But on the real, like, I mean, yeah, I want to live comfortable, man. Shout out to Sam, bro. What a goddamn model citizen, bro. I want to live a simple life, man, to where, I don't want to have enough. I don't want to have too much money to where, possessional things can be easily accessible to me, right? That's that whole vanity slave living. Nah, I don't want that shit, man. I want my kids to, make sure that they have everything that they need. I want to be able to provide for them, right? But I also want them to grow up knowing that, it's more important things out here in this world than money. Cherish your family and love hard. That's just my mindset these days, man. Stay away from the bullshit.
So let me ask you a question, bro. And I know we jumping on, but audience, please bear with us. All right. So let me ask you a question, bro. So would you want your child, right? Would you want him to be a successful, unhappy millionaire? Or all shit is right. Or a homeless, happy bum? Which one would you want your son to be and why?
I would want my kid to be the millionaire, right? The unhappy millionaire, okay? Because his offspring, if he or she decides to have kids, one or two of those kids is going to realize, hey, well, I can actually use this money for some good. I don't know why Pops is tripping, right? But that millionaire is also in a position to provide generational wealth.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? So even though he is unhappy with whatever the case may be, that's fine. But put your family, or he's in a position to put his
Right.
family in, a better space, you know. So yeah, don't be homeless out here in these streets.
Nah,
Um,
never that.
I mean, if
Never
you
that.
homeless and happy, whatever. I mean, yeah, that's cool and all, but you still gotta have means of providing for yourself.
Absolutely.
Um, Especially if you have a family, because then you're just recreating a whole cycle that we don't need to have. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like Black folks, especially, you know, we don't own anything, right?
Mm,
And that's a
Say
problem.
it. Say it one more time.
We don't own shit.
That's
You
right.
know what I'm saying? And that's a problem. And that's a problem. That's why we don't have. That's why we don't have a seat at a lot of these tables where these decisions are being made. But hey, that's a different topic for a different day.
Yo,
But yeah,
and I agree with you, bro. Like, I think about it now. I have a son, and I think I want him to capture as much wealth as he can. Like, do the things I was not able to do, or the things I have not done yet. Because I look at it like this, right? I was brought up. My parents worked. My dad worked. My mom worked. Right? They worked until their late ages. My dad passed away, God rest his soul, but he worked until he was in his 60s, right? So I look at it like this: like, if you look at what the life expectancy is, especially for a Black man, it's like in the 70s, right?
mhm.
It's not, you're not living to 80 some if you're Black, depending on your health and all that, right? And your preconditions. So if you come from a family with high blood pressure, diabetes, the chances of you living past 80 are very slim. So if you look at it, right, the retirement age is getting up and up. So retirement right now, I think it's 64. So where you can retire, you collect Social Security. So if the life expectancy is only 70 something, let's say 74, 75, you only have about 9 years to enjoy your life, enjoy your retirement, enjoy the money that you've worked so hard for. So I think I will teach my son what the dominant society have been teaching their young, and how
Mhm.
to maneuver with money, how to make money work for you. Because at the end of the day, I would like him to enjoy his money without him retiring at a late age and you know not enjoying it or not being able to utilize it the way he wants.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't give a fuck if he's unhappy. You're gonna make that money because at the end of the day, you don't want to be 65 years old and there's no social security coming your way, or you have no security blanket. You need to be able to be a dog because I watched this guy, right? His name is Jordan Peterson. He's kind of controversial because of the way he thinks and what he said, but he has a lot of information when it comes to speaking to young men how to act, right? He said a man in his 20s should be an animal. He should be a dog. He should be selfish. He should do everything in his power to obtain what he can. And then when he gets to his 30s and 40s, then kind of calm down. But in your 20s, you're supposed to be an animal. You're supposed to be a dog. You're not supposed to be nice. We kind of taught differently. You know what I mean? We're kind of taught to be the nice guy, do this, that. Things will come to you. Be patient. Other people are not taught these things. They're taught to go after it, get hungry, and keep going for it and don't stop.
Mhm.
So we gotta change. We gotta change our thinking, man. Because I know me, I'm not comfortable where I'm at right now, and I kind of want to go somewhere farther than what I am now. But I need direction on how to obtain it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I was not taught credit, how to obtain loans, and all that. They don't even teach you this type of shit in school.
Nah, they sure don't. And even if
And
they
that's it.
do, you really think, were you paying attention like that? Because I know I sure as hell
Nah,
wasn't.
I tell you what though, I remember they used to have this class. You probably remember it at Penn or at middle school. They used to have a class called Business Essentials, and it would teach you about the stock market, supply and demand, how to balance a checkbook, and that's it. Not
Mhm.
about credit, not about other things, how to obtain loans and everything like that. You don't get taught. The only way you get taught this type of stuff is if you put your kids through a private education where you have to pay tens of 15, $20,000 to obtain this knowledge, where they get taught that. But other than that, you're gonna have to scrounge around and try to find this information on your own. Because I didn't know about credit until I was in my mid-20s, and a lady at the bank told me about it. My mom and them ain't tell me about that shit.
Facts.
And Black people, when we got money, we do the dumbest shit with it. Like, I'll never forget this, right? My mom got over $100,000 settlement from an accident. She was in a car accident, right? 100,000, bro. You hear what I'm saying? Over 100,000, right? And this was back, I think this was in the early 2000s. I was still pretty young. I was like probably 10, 11. My brother was probably just about to graduate high school, right? You would think that my mom would get a financial specialist sit down and say, you have 100 grand right here. I can make this money work for you. I can invest it. I can do this and that and the third. And it'll just grow. We'll just allow it to grow. And then you don't have to worry about nothing. Just continue to let your money grow for you, or put your money in an asset so that way, nothing happens to it, right? No, my mom did. Typical Black person. I love my mom. Typical Black folk bought a door that was about $5,000-$6,000. The front door.
That nice ass door?
That nice ass door, bro. That about $5,000-$6,000, right? Bought that door. Bought my aunt a car, a brand new car. So about 20 grand. And then did little things to fix up the house. And that was it. That money was gone. Didn't even put aside. Maybe she did, but then they probably dipped into it, and then that was probably our college fund, but it was gone. But that's the stuff I'm talking about. If it was a person from the dominant society and they had that much money, bet your ass what that money would have went to something good or put in an asset or something.
Yeah.
That's the problem. Like, when I see that, then I look at it like, oh, it's good to spend your money, let it go away, buy stupid shit with it, because that's the behavior that I was taught. You know what I mean? So I think we got to do better when it comes to leading this new generation, the kids that we have, or even younger people than us. Like, yo, you got to let your money work for you. You got to do something with that money. You got to hustle. You got to work 2 jobs. You got to work until your back is broken. You have to do all these things to become a better person, man. Because I'm telling you right now, the world is not kind, man.
Nah, it's not at all. You definitely right, man. And let me clarify something, right? Because when I say that I'm a simple man, right? I don't know what folks think that means, but a simple living is living beyond, is like not living outside of your being, right? Like,
absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Like, like a nigga, like what's buddy name? What's that rich dude name, bro? And you always see him in the goddamn, like, he's
Warren Buffett.
Nah, not him. Buddy with the glasses, Bill Gates.
Bill Gates, absolutely.
He's not flashy, right? He wears some fucking, some duck shoes. You know what I'm saying?
Same outfit every day.
You feel me? Wrangler jeans, a little, the wrinkled ass button up or something. No jewelry and nothing like that. Like that's what I'm like J. Cole. Matter of fact, I don't even know why I use him as an example.
Right.
Cole to me, right, is a simple man. All right. He stays to himself. He makes sure that his family is taken care of. You know what I'm saying? He's not living beyond his means. I mean, granted, yeah, Buddy is a millionaire, but does he flex and show that he's out here making this type of money? No, not at all. Kendrick, you don't really even see him like that. We know he got money.
Absolutely.
But he's not out buying Lambos and goddamn, you know what I'm saying, Richard Millie's and shit like that. Like, that nigga is he's setting his family up. You know what I mean? And it's more money coming in and not a lot going out. You feel me? That's what I mean by simple living. I'm going to look, that's what I mean by simple living. I mean, maybe other people have their own, definition of simple living and shit, but that's what I mean. Because I done seen people with money and I done seen people without. They always dishing their money out and there's never a lot coming back in. I don't want that shit. Like I got money
Nah,
working I got my money working from my I got my money working itself right now. Am I saying that
absolutely.
right?
No. Your money's working for you
Thank
instead of
you.
you working for your money.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, fuck that. But if I'm, I'm chilling.
Right.
I'm chilling. I'm gonna
Nah,
work.
that
I'm gonna do what I gotta do to eat and make sure my family good. But my money is going, it's gonna work for itself. And
absolutely.
if I gotta rock some goddamn J's that I done had for the past, 5 years and hell, whatever.
Bro,
I
and
got shoes on my feet.
and you know what's crazy, bro? Like I think Black culture, like it's been ingrained in us to be a flashy materialistic. Like we'll go that extra mile to get something that's out of our price range to the point where it's like, damn well we can't afford it, but we
Mhm.
have to keep up. And it's just
Keeping up
we
with
have
the
to get out of that.
Joneses.
We got to get out of that mindset, man, because like Black people, it's always been ingrained in us that the dominant society will tell us, yo, you can't afford that, you can't do that. When we do, we go buy some shit we can't even afford, just to prove to somebody that we don't even fucking like that we can afford it, and we'll do whatever we can to make do with what we got.
Yeah,
Knowing
that's
damn
what
well
I'm
we can't
saying.
afford that shit, man.
Yeah, that material shit don't matter, bro.
Nah, it
It
don't,
really
because
don't.
you can't leave with it.
Nah, you can't. You can't. So, niggas can do all the flexing they want, but if your savings is not reflecting how you really living, man, whatever, dog. I ain't even trying to hear it.
Absolutely.
But I mean, it was once upon a time that Black folks did live like that, to where a flashy lifestyle was actually just a common lifestyle. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Walking around with gold on, and the best silks, and all that stuff. People don't know that part of history. But
Absolutely.
yeah, I mean that was a thing. But when you're stripped of those things and you're put into a position to where you have to start from the bottom. Hey, I mean, yeah, I understand. You're trying to get back. Well, like you're not conscious of it, but that old spirit in you it wants you to get back to living that lavish lifestyle. But
Right.
that means you have to work for that now. You know what
Absolutely.
I'm saying? And even if you can't flex the way that you want to flex, make sure you save enough money so when your kids get in position, you can break them off with that money so they can live like that. You know what I'm saying? And,
Absolutely.
and let that whole new cycle start. So yeah,
Mm, mm.
that's what that is. You feel me?
This is this is powerful stuff, listeners. It's powerful stuff, man. Like I said, we don't try to get off topic, but we try to correlate everything we're talking about. So this is the important stuff that correlates to the Black heroes that we're talking about, because the people that we discuss, you know, they weren't flashy men. They lived modestly and they did what they had to do to whatever extent to kind of continue with that lifestyle and promote that image and that message that they were trying to promote. So we're gonna try to tie this along to the next person we'll talk about. This is like a joint thing because me and Smoove, we both idolize this individual to the point where he is somebody that for Black culture, I think every Black person should know about this man and know about what he did and what he sacrificed and how he changed um, how Black people were looked upon. And that gentleman is Malcolm X. Uh, to me, there's no other man that I can say. I mean, him and Martin Luther King, that were those figures of people that, in general, changed ideas and personalities and kind of promoted their message to where they say straight up, I don't want integration. I don't need help from the white man. Malcolm X was that bold. He coincides with Huey P. Newton in a sense where he said what he said and he meant it. And he said it on public television when they would interview him. I have a bunch of quotes here from Malcolm X. I'm just gonna read one, right? And then it's just him saying stuff, but it means so much. This man said, "A man who stands for nothing will fall for anything. Just think about that, right? If you don't stand up for what you believe in, you're gonna fall for anything society puts in front of you.
Bro, that's one of
You're
my
gonna
favorite quotes.
you're gonna go with anything. And one of the things I like, right? And this is when I was talking about nonviolence earlier. He said, we are nonviolent with people who are nonviolent with us. So this is Malcolm X during I want to say in the early 1960s. He said this during a press conference when they were asking him, hey, what are you gonna do about those supremacists that come at you with all this stuff? He said to them, he's like, we are gonna be nonviolent with individuals that are nonviolent with us, meaning we're gonna meet violence with violence. So I'm gonna let Joe handle the background of him, but this guy was such a powerful figure. Like, if you don't know about Malcolm X, if you don't understand this man, you need to get hip to him, man, because he is the dude that pretty much created a generation to kind of follow his movement. So the Black Panther Party kind of followed his ideologies.
The hell yeah.
You know, they kind of wanted to take that and put it to work, because Malcolm X, all he wanted to do was how can we improve the Black community to a point where we don't have to deal with what's going on in white society. I don't even want to recognize them. I don't even want to deal with them. And he even said, he was like, I agree with the white supremacists and the white separatists. We shouldn't integrate. Like, Black people should be with Black people, white people should be with white people. That's his mentality.
X was a trip, dog. He was a trip, man.
And it wasn't like he was wrong in what he was saying. He was saying, why do we have to be with them? Why do we have to do what they want? Why do we have to try to be in their society? Let's create our own. That's what he was about, man. That's what he was about. And then get this, right? Here's another quote he says, because you guys got to remember, right? Malcolm X wasn't, he didn't have a formal education, right? He spoke so intelligently, and he was self-taught. He said, my alma mater was books, a good library. I could spend the rest of my life reading, just satisfy my curiosity, right? We need to get back to that. We need to get back to Black men being intelligent and just falling in love with reading and growing your knowledge and not being stagnant. Because stagnant complacentness, that's what's going to hurt you at the end of the day. Being ignorant and not having that knowledge to kind of grow as a person and understand what's happening, that's what's going to leave you in the dust and leave you behind the dominant society, because you don't want to grow, you don't want to change. And then I'm just going to say one more quote, and I'm gonna hand it off to Smoove real quick. And this is, I think I have this one hanging in my office. Hold on, let me see real quick. No, I'm gonna say this one. This is the powerful one, right? We didn't land on Plymouth Rock. Plymouth Rock landed on us, and it just like. And I encourage the listeners to please watch the Malcolm X movie directed by Spike Lee with Denzel Washington portraying Malcolm X. Such a powerful performance. It will let you understand tidbits in his life, and also pick up the autobiography Malcolm X as told by Alex Haley. Definitely a good book to read to kind of understand where he comes from Detroit Red to hustling in Harlem to becoming a part of the Nation of Islam and serving under the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. You know, you got to understand the phases that he went through in his life and where he came from. So I'll pass it over. I'm gonna pass it off to Smoove, because I get so passionate speaking about this man, because he is
bro, talk your shit, man. He's that dude. Like, he deserves, you know what I'm saying, praise, bro.
Like, he is just that person that you have to understand. Like, I remember people would say, oh, Malcolm X was a racist. He was this, that, and the third. No, he stood for his people and wanted to uplift his people to the best of his abilities. Him and Martin Luther King didn't have the same ideology. Doesn't mean he was a person that was beneath him or he didn't respect Martin Luther King. He respected him, but he didn't align with his ideology. He didn't want that. And if you guys got to understand, Martin Luther King, he wanted integration, but he didn't know what integration was gonna bring. And you got to understand, Martin Luther King was killed and assassinated for what he was trying to bring apart, which was the poor people's movement. You know, the people don't know that he was trying to bring a poor people's movement that was going to include poor whites, poor blacks, poor Hispanics, and tried to equal out that 99% of just people that are living like not making enough money, not making that minimum wage, not doing any of that, and trying to bring them together. Like, how can we change that? Why is there only 1% of the population that's living good and the other 99% is not? So pay attention to that. But I'm gonna pass it off to Smoove because he's gonna handle all the background shit in regards to Malcolm X. But like I said, check out the Malcolm X movie with Spike Lee and Denzel Washington. Also get the autobiography as told by Alex Haley, and also check out a documentary on Netflix called "Who Killed Malcolm X." Definitely,
that was dope.
Ties in a lot of stuff, ties in a lot of conspiracy theories, and kind of brings it all together on what really happened and how he was killed and who killed him and why they never brought up charges to that individual, and how the FBI, the New York City Police Department, kind of utilized their informants to infiltrate his mosque and infiltrate that that area to kind of, you know, bring out his demise. So I'll pass it off to Smoove.
COINTELPRO.
Yeah, exactly.
COINTELPRO. Motherfuckers. So all right, background on Mr. X, right? He was born in Omaha, Nebraska, ended up moving to Lansing, Michigan, then Roxbury / Boston, Massachusetts, and ended up in Harlem, New York, as a lot of people know him to be. And a lot of these, you know, a lot of, and mostly in movies and media or whatever, right? You always saw him in New York. So anyways, while serving in prison from 1946 and 1952, he converted the Nation of Islam, right? And that's where he pretty much got his you know, that self-knowledge, right? Educating himself, right? So in order to educate himself, he spent hours reading books in the prison library and even memorizing the dictionary, which is why I actually, to this day, I keep the dictionary app in my phone, right? Because, see, learning to me is cool, right? Like being able to speak, being intelligent, you know, it's folks like Malcolm X that made that look cool to me. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to just be no ignorant person walking around in the streets, right? Because words is very powerful, right? And they're when you actually use them in the right way, you know, you can make some stuff happen. All right, so yeah, he also sharpened his forensic skills by, you know, just participating in debate classes, right? So that's why he was able to hold these conversations and interviews, and whenever people would interview him and ask him, you know, silly ass questions that he thought was silly, he was so witty with his words, man. I mean, he would just spit it back at you, and then you just, mostly white folks, would be sitting there like, who the hell is this black man talking to me like this? You know, that's just what it was, bro. Like, you know what I mean? But so yeah, so he changed his last name from Little to X due to the Nation of Islam customs. Let's see what else. After meeting with Elijah Muhammad in 1952, he began to organize temples in New York, Philly, Boston, and other cities in the South, right? He founded the nation's newspaper called Muhammad Speaks, right? Then he became the minister of Temple Number 7 in Harlem. That's you know, that's why I feel like a lot of people know him to be from New York, just because he had the largest and most prestigious temple in the nation. I want to say the second largest temple in the nation at that time was Chicago. So he surpassed them. Let's see what else. After a while, Elijah Muhammad named him the national representative of the Nation of Islam, making him second in command. All right. So we all know him to be a major advocate of Black nationalism. Let's see. In 1963, there were deep tensions between Malcolm and Elijah Muhammad over the political direction of the nation, right? So Malcolm urged that the nation need to become more active in the widespread of civil rights protests, instead of just being critics on the sidelines that the nation was doing, quote unquote, right? So Malcolm left the nation in March 1964, and in the next month he founded the Muslim Mosque Incorporation. So during his pilgrimage to the Mecca, that same year, he experienced a second conversion and embraced Sunni Islam, right? Which adopted his Muslim name El Haj Malik El Shabazz, right? Or El Shabazz. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right. So therefore, he renounced the separatist beliefs of the nation, and he claimed that the solution to racial problems in the United States lay in Orthodox Islam, right? Let's see what else. In 1965, he founded the Organization of Afro-American Unity as a secular vehicle to internationalize the plight of Black Americans and to make common cause with the people of the developing world to move from civil rights to human rights. All right. Now, just like how you were speaking on MLK and how he was assassinated for, getting poor people's rights, right? Malcolm was moving from civil rights to human rights. All right. So not only was he just concerned about Black people anymore, he was concerned about everybody's rights. All right. He seen something was going on. Let's get everybody involved now, which is a big no-no. So on February 21st, 1965, Malcolm was assassinated while delivering a lecture at the Audubon Ballroom in Harlem. 3 members of the Nation of Islam were convicted of his murder, quote unquote. Supposedly. So yeah, but Malcolm was that dude, man. He was that freaking dude.
Listen, man, Malcolm, if you don't get excited about talking about Malcolm X, then you don't understand this, man. He was a pilgrim in Black national movement. He was the one that pushed that envelope to be like, all right, I'm for my people, and we're gonna do something to make it better for us. Like, I'm looking at these quotes, and it's so crazy this man was allowed to say it back then. One of the quotes he says, if you're not ready to die for it, put the word freedom out of your vocabulary. Like,
I can hear him saying that shit, bro.
It's just crazy. And these quotes are still relevant to today. Without education, you're not going anywhere in the world. That's true. If you don't educate yourself, if you don't get the knowledge, you ain't going nowhere. You're not gonna comprehend half the stuff. Like, it's mind blowing. And then, like I said to you guys, Malcolm X and Martin Luther King, they both wanted the same thing. Even though their ideologies were different, they both wanted freedom. He even says it. Dr. King wants the same thing I want: freedom. Freedom to travel unmolestedly in this country, freedom to eat and drink where you want. Black folks didn't have that freedom. They had areas where they had to eat, sleep, drink that were different, that was separate and not equal to the dominant society. That's what these guys is fighting for, man. That's what they was fighting for. But then again, like I said, Dr. King, I think once he realized that what integration was going to bring, that's why he wanted to move towards, all right, I'm going to try to bring about this financial issue that nobody's talking about. How is this 1% making majority of the money, but they're working off the backs of the 99? You guys got to understand, whether you believe he was assassinated for that, whether you believe Malcolm was assassinated for the human rights, trying to develop a relationship to trying to move the goalposts on that. You guys got to understand, powerful Black leaders will always face the demise when they are tackling issues that the dominant society does not want them to handle. Mm-hmm. It's cool when you talk about Black rights. Nobody cares about that. But when you include a majority of the society, that's when it becomes an issue. Oh. So y'all gotta understand that. Y'all gotta listen to that, man. Like, right. And then I'm gonna read this last quote, and then we're gonna move on. But Malcolm says this: I am not a racist. I am against every form of racism and segregation, every form of discrimination. I believe in human beings and that all human beings should be respected as such, regardless of their color. So I think this quote kind of came after his tour of Mecca, and he kind of understood that when he's seen all forms of people with different colors kind of praising the the same God and doing the same pilgrimage and drinking from the same water and doing their absolution from the same place. He understood that we're all humans and we want a better place to live in this world, and we need equal rights for that.
Yeah. Getting everybody incorporated, bro. That's you can't do that. And it's unfortunate, like you said, because we see the same story, plays out for every Black leader that tries to get everybody involved, right?
Absolutely.
Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, in my opinion, Bob. Who else, man? Fred Hampton. Fred Hampton was another cat that was actually, making moves to get poor white people involved, Spanish people involved, whatever. And well, he ends up getting killed in his daggone sleep type, so
Hey,
it's crazy.
and a quote that I love from Fred Hampton, and I actually want to watch that movie. I haven't watched it yet. That movie that Daniel Kulea he portrays him in a movie, and it talks about him and then the informant that ultimately led to his demise. But the quote I love from Fred Hampton, he says, "You can kill the revolutionary, but you can't kill the revolution." So you can kill me, I'll be a martyr, but my ideas and my tactics will still live on to people that come after me.
That's facts.
So we got to pay respect to these people, man, because they have become martyrs in stuff that is still relevant to today. The freedom that we still fight for today. Now, granted, it's not as it was 40, 50 years ago, 60 years ago, but we still face the same issues. We still battle a great disparity when it comes to economic wealth in this country, and these problems still ain't been fixed. So we got to understand that these are ongoing battles that we still trying to fight to this day, and these people, they lay their life down for it.
They're not going to be fixed either.
Nah, big respect to MLK, Malcolm, Bob, Toussaint, Jean-Jacques. Those guys, they really paved the way for a lot of ideals and a lot of revolutionary tactics that are still being used today. So big ups to them, man. Shout out to them ancestors, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah, definitely well missed. Their leadership and confidence is missed. Something that is lacking in our society right now. But they live on through us. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Because we're always going to speak on these people's names. My kids are going to know who these folks are. Their kids are going to know who these folks are. You know what I'm saying? And that's how, that's just how legends are. They become immortalized, right? Mm-hmm. Because you never seen and I'm actually biting off of somebody that I heard the other day, but it's real shit, right? These people become immortalized, right? Because we never got a chance to see Malcolm X grow old. We never got a chance to see Martin Luther King grow old. A lot of these martyrs, right? We always see them as, that young face, right?
Right.
They died years ago, right? But we still see them as how they were at that time, right? Which makes it so much powerful, right? It makes their words more, like it hits more. At least it does to me, you know what I'm saying? Right. Like, but yeah, man, these people are immortalized forever. And they're gonna live on. They're gonna live on.
Yeah, so I encourage this audience, man, the listeners, please, do your research, come intertwine with these people, understand them, and white, Black, Hispanic, whoever's listening, these people are great to understand for society and kind of know where they came from and understand the phases and the obstacles that they overcame to become the great people that they are. So definitely research them, check out the books that we mentioned, and I think Smoove got another hero that he wants to talk about too, so I'll pass it over to him.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah. My last hero actually is my mother, right? Pamela Hicks. All right. Um, my mom actually, so we're from Virginia, right? Chesapeake, Virginia, to be exact. And if you know anything about Virginia, it is, that is a southern state. And it's a lot of racism that happened out here as well, right? I mean, this is the same place that formed the first colony. Um, if you think that that these white folks was out here building their own goddamn colony, you got another thing coming. All right. No, it was black folks out here. So yes, that racism does live, it exists out here, right? But my mom, like I said, she was born and raised in Chesapeake, Virginia, right? She ended up breaking the boundaries of the police department in Chesapeake, becoming the first black female sergeant in Chesapeake Police Department, right? Now, she did that in maybe the late 80s, I want to say. I forgot the year. But the 80s, it was still some racism out here. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, we in Virginia, all right? So when you have a department full of white folks, what was that lady doing that, made them have to recognize her as a sergeant? You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Absolutely.
Mom Dukes was out here kicking ass and taking names, you know what I'm saying? And I love the fact that she was able to make some history out here. Yeah, and nobody is ever going to be able to take that away from her out here. That's in the history books. You feel me? So shout out to Mom Dukes. And yeah, yeah, that's some hard ass shit right there to me. So thank you, Mom, for you know on a minor scale, but still major at the same time, breaking boundaries. You know what I'm saying? Her actual one of her role models is Martin Luther King. You know what I'm saying? So if it wasn't for his words, she might not even want to even step into that position to want to go beyond her means of breaking the color boundary. You know what I mean? But yeah, shout out to Mom Dukes.
I bet. So I think I'm gonna add my father into this. Rest in peace, my dad. Because he is and will always be my hero. But you got to understand where he came from. He's born in Jérémie, Haiti, which is a village in the southern part of Haiti. You know what I mean? He comes from the slums. Like he comes from a third world country. So, give you a brief history. My father came to this country illegally. I know people that listen, oh, your father came here illegally. Oh, he was like, all right, quiet. So my
Because they
father
here
came here.
illegally too. They just don't know.
Exactly. My father came here in the 1980s, and how he came here was, he had uh, a kid. He had a son. He had two daughters. That's my, shout out to them. Still living in Haiti. I communicate with them. Shout out to Mark Henry, Jasmine, Mireille. I love you guys. But he came here in the 1980s. He hijacked a cruise liner. Him, I want to say one of my uncles and his cousin and like 10 other dudes. They hijacked the cruise liner coming into the port of Haiti and then going to Miami. He hijacked it with a fake gun. So you gotta understand, man. When you come, yeah, I'm dead serious, bro. This ain't no cap. Back in the 1980s, him and a couple of his family members and people that he was really cool with, they hijacked the cruise liner and tied up the crew, tied up the captain, and was able to sail the boat, sail the cruise, not sail, but pilot that cruise liner to Miami, where they was arrested and they spent like, I want to say like 6 months in jail. But when they went to the judge ended up letting them go, and they allowed them in America. So my dad, he met my mother. In the 80s, they got married. You know, they had my brother, had me, and he taught me a lot of lessons in life. You know, when it comes to always taking care of your family. Like he never stopped always giving back to his older kids in Haiti. He never forgot about them, and that to me always showed me the type of man he was. You know, he never forgot about them. He never left them hanging. He always gave them what he had, even if he had $20 left. He would give them his bank account. So my father prevailed, coming to this country as an immigrant, able to get his green card, work multiple jobs, being successful, and having us and raising us. And he really did a lot of amazing things. Shout out to him. I miss him daily. But he was a great man in his own right. And he really did what he had to do to come here and really make an impact.
Yeah, man, that's dope, bro. Yeah, rest in
Yeah,
peace. Right,
yeah,
rest in
man.
peace. For sure, man. Wow. Bro, I ain't never know that, yo.
Yeah, bro. Hijacked the cruise liner. Him, because my uncle, I always knew the story, but I never knew like the depths of it. But when I was talking to my uncle one time, he told me like the whole story, and I was just shocked. I was like, "What? Y'all had a fake gun?" And he was like, "Yeah, the gun was fake, and we hijacked and we tied him up. We didn't do anything to them. We just tied them up. The captain piloted the boat back to Miami, and we got off there. We got arrested, and they spent like 6 months in jail. But when they went in
Down
front of
there in
the judge,
Miami.
yeah, when they went in front of the judge, he let them go. He let them free because back then it was a little bit. It wasn't as harsh as it is now.
Yeah.
Now you come to the country, it's a whole different process. They're gonna send you back, no questions asked. You might be sent in jail for 6 months. They'll send you back. They'll deport you. They'll register. All that back then. In the 80s, they didn't have that type of technology or that type of immigration system to kind of combat that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they did what they had to do, man, to survive. You gotta remember, back
Word
then,
up.
my dad was in the Haitian military. He just there was nothing out there for him other than that. I mean, he did his service to his country. He's like, I gotta get out of here.
Mm-hmm.
So he came and he did what he had to do.
Shout out to Pops, man. Yeah,
Yeah,
because if
shout
he
out to
wouldn't have
Pop.
came
Rest
to
in
the
peace, man.
States, I wouldn't have met my brother. So,
Absolutely, man.
I
Absolutely,
mean,
man.
yeah, definitely a blessing, yo. Jeez. Well, hey, I mean, we did some rapping today, yo.
Facts, facts. We definitely tied up a lot of topics. Listeners, this is how we're gonna do it, man. This podcast, we're always gonna be chirping with a lot of different topics, but they always gonna tie in. It's never gonna be something where we're talking about nonsense. It's always gonna be fulfilling conversation, and it's always gonna be some knowledge that we're gonna drop on y'all.
Definitely, man. So feel free to, we want to hear from y'all as well, man.
Absolutely.
The like we said before, the whole purpose of this platform, right, is to have these conversations, okay? And some days it may not just be me and M dot rapping, right? Like, we plan on having other people. If one of y'all want to step onto the show, and depending on the topic, you know what I'm saying, you give your 2 cents about, however you feel, then please, you know what I'm saying, it's welcome, all right? It's no right or wrong answer on this platform at all. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Like I said, this is Step Into the Light, Step Up to the Mic podcast, right? Everybody has a voice, okay? We all want to hear it, all right? So
Right.
that's what it's all about, all right? So feel free to leave some comments, you know what I mean? Let us know what you want to talk about, and we're going to find a way to get your voice heard. You feel me?
Absolutely. And follow us, subscribe, share that thing, man, because we're gonna keep pumping out content and it's gonna be some good stuff.
That's
Like
facts.
Smoove said, we're gonna have guests on here. We're gonna talk about a multitude of conversation, and we're not gonna judge anybody on how you feel. We're gonna debate. We're gonna have differing opinions, but we're never gonna judge y'all, man. Like everybody has different. That's what makes this. That's what makes being a human being so great, man. Because it's not a monolith society. Everybody's different. Everybody got different opinions. So definitely continue to support us and share and subscribe and what I mean, shout us out, man.
Yeah, real rap. Oh, and merchandise is coming on
Yeah,
coming soon as well.
facts,
You know what I'm
facts,
saying?
facts.
We about to make some moves now.
Yeah, shout out that Instagram, bro. We got the Instagram popping, man. Shout out the Instagram.
Yo, the
too.
Instagram name. Matter of fact, yeah, because we do need to go ahead and get that get that up off the ground. All right. So the Instagram is step into the number 2, the light, step up to the mic, the number 2, step up to the mic. All right, that's all it is. Step into the light, step up to the mic with the number 2. Okay. Follow us and we'll follow back. You know what I mean? And we're gonna continue to spread. We're gonna continue to spread the word and let y'all know what's going on out here. And as long as y'all let us know what's going on, you know what I mean? We're gonna show love back. You feel me? That's just what we do. All right.
So like, subscribe, follow us. Like Smoove just pointed out, the Instagram, maybe a YouTube channel coming, merchandise, maybe coming too as well. So yeah, we getting it out there. Final words, like I said, listen to the Black heroes, learn and try to understand them, and just have them intertwined with what you're talking about, and definitely learn from them, so that way we can, their messages can kind of carry on. So yeah, shout us out. We love y'all. This is M. Smoove on the other side. We see y'all soon.
Peace. One love, people.
Hi.